Welcome guys, welcome. We're going to be playing some Armour Brigade 2 with the new Scandanavia DLC today. Just going to be do a bit of a deep dive into this pretty amazing little game actually. It's not even a little game, there's a lot of content in it, a hell of a lot of content. Let's just go through, there's always questions about it, so let's just sort of get them off the bat straight away. Like, what do you get basically in the base game? And the base game is 25% off right now if you're watching this live. I'm not sure how long that will last for, that particular deal. And you can get the bundle for 17% off, which is essentially just the base game plus this Scandanavia DLC. The Scandanavia DLC is the first of the DLC packs that have come into Armour Brigade 2. Armour Brigade 2 but basically sort of hit the ground running when it did launch. It launched with pretty much all of the DLC from the previous version, so they sort of brought everything up to speed, but it's a fully 3D, which really makes a massive difference. It's often people who've got Armour Brigade 1, or they used to back in the day. I don't know if people, haven't seen questions about this much, but there used to be a question like, why would I need to have 3D when the 2D is perfectly acceptable? If you really like the 2D, then you probably don't need Armour Brigade 2 if you've got all the DLCs. But for me, the 3D really helps with with sort of working out the tactical approach to different problems, and every game is a different problem. The thing that makes this game so unique is actually its way of actually constructing random maps or random missions. And so if I go into generate a mission, for example, I then actually have a choice of different maps. Now, there's 2 new maps that have come through. So the original game has got all of the original Armour Brigade 1 maps, including all the DLC maps, but we now have a couple of extra ones. We've got the Bornholm in through here. I'm assuming this is part of Denmark, I would assume. I think. And so this is like 30 kilometres versus by 30 kilometres is my understanding of the actual size. And so the beautiful thing about the game is that you can sort of pick any old spot. So it's not as if you're like, and these are real world maps. Like I could go into Google Maps and basically drive along these roads if I found the place. Like Ron, in fact, let's do it. Let's do it. So we'll just go into Maps. Oh, hang on, I might just so it doesn't sort of show up exactly where I live. Let's not do exactly that. I'll just do it off the screen and then bring it back in. So I'm thinking it will actually, yeah, no, I don't want to show that. Ron, Denmark, there we go. Just zoom in here. So, just make sure there's nothing else that's going to sort of dox me in any way. I think I'm okay. All right, let's move this one across. So this is this island. So we can sort of see this is it here, and that's the actual island that they've then sort of created in the actual game. So I'm assuming I can put down markers, street view. And if we have a look down the street, that's looking down past these little houses, etc. And so I can I think I can make my way. Am I going in the right direction? Yeah, I am. There's a little village down this way, for example. And so so this is the actual real location. Don't know why I'm doing this, but anyway. So it just goes around this corner, for example, and then sort of into a little town, I think. Opens up, and then we've got a little town just in through there, for example. So that's the next little town that are sort of coming up against. So let's just go and ditch that one there. So that's the that was coming down into Arkaby in through this other side. So if I actually go and place this this down here or somewhere, if it's along here somewhere, anyway, that is the road that we were just on. And when we go into the game, we are then playing the 3D map of real world locations, which is pretty damn cool, I've got to say. Including like the houses are just abstracted, but they you still see them as houses when you actually go into the the game. Actually, it would be pretty cool if it did actually choose the different types of houses that you get in the different map locations, but I think that would be just too much. Anyway, it's very well done. So we've got Bornholm. We also then have another one as well, so Trelleborg. So Trelleborg is part of Sweden. So we've got like the Malmo airport. Malmo is just over here. This is the area pretty much centered around the Malmo airport. And again, we can just go and click in. And I've actually had a look through Google Street View here as well, and it's very, very similar. Like it's extremely similar. I mean, things are abstracted a little bit in the game, of course, but overall, it's really, really quite amazing the way they've sort of done this. Anyway, you can generate your own campaigns anywhere you like on any of the maps with any of the factions. So that's really one of the great things about this particular game. The other thing is you also then have, if I just go back out to the main menu, you also then have like a dynamic campaign that you can then go and create. So if I go into new game and then generate campaign, there are sort of preset campaigns as well, and there are a few new ones that have come back in. So we've got like this one's Sweden versus Russia, so Sweden versus USSR, and we've got Denmark versus USSR. So we've got like a branching campaign there of called Polar Thunder. So this is actually the war in Central Europe has erupted in the borders of the Fulda Gap and reached its climax in the Battle of Gießen. Officially ended, but true peace not arrived. What follows was an anxious port. Yeah, so this is sort of like the whole premise of this game is the Cold War goes hot, essentially. So this is actually where, so they're basically sort of attacking southern Sweden in this particular campaign, which is fairly hard, I've got to say. I did sort of start to look at that one. And then we've got this one here, we've got Denmark, so Red Dawn on Bornholm. So this is NATO commences, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, this is just gives you like two different campaigns. This one's just purely linear. The other one is a branching campaign where, depending on your results, you'll end up in different positions. So pretty cool the way that sort of does work. Right, so we've got, in fact, this is interesting, we've got Shadows over Gießen through here. So this is actually where the USSR is attacking the Americans. Anyway, it's all very, very well done. It's all centered around Northern Europe, around the Fulda Gap. So we'll just go back to the main menu. But if I go back into new game and generate campaign, what I can then go and do, and if I go to any of these maps again, I can start to build I can click and sort of set up like a different attack vectors and so on and so forth. Now, this map's not a good one for doing this on because it doesn't like the water. So you've got to sort of try to make it so that you're not strictly on the water. Let's just start up in here. This will probably fail a few times, but if I click multiple times, I can then tell it exactly where I want the maps to then generate. So let's just go that way. When I right click, it will then try to create a dynamic campaign for me. There we go. See how it failed because of the water. So this one is a hard map to get it doing. I can actually then just go and do random sectors again and just get it to redraw. But in this case, I don't think I'll ever get a map that's going to be fully safe. Have to be very, very lucky with this area through here, just because of the amount of water. It just means that the AI won't know how to really play it properly, which is a shame. But let's see what we get. One more time, yeah. No, we're just going to always have like, and so what happens here again on the real world map is that you would then have your battle taking place in this sort of location. So you'd end up with again, it's not something where the map has been generated for the actual battle. You then have to make your decisions based on like unknowns, and the AI does as well. So it's sort of, for me, it's a really interesting way of playing the game. You then do have, of course, if we go into new game, we can go to single missions where there are curated maps. So you've got like a fair few of these. Again, like Frozen Crossroads, for example. This is again Sweden in February of 1991. So two Northern rifle companies are tasked with the defence of Kapanen and its approaches. Just gives you the full sort of rundown as to what to expect. So T-72s, etc. So there's a whole lot of different stuff that does come back through. Actually Solo is then saying, make this exercise smaller and it'll work better for this map. Yeah, so that's actually where we are. Now I don't know if we can only choose Sweden on this one through here. So anyway, let's go back out, and so that's the new stuff that's come. Those two new maps, which are pretty cool. And the other thing really is to now just pick and choose what we're going to be, who we're going to be playing as. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you the database editor, because this is actually how I like to choose who I'm going to be playing as, or what era I'm going to be playing as. So the actual eras in the game, they run from, if I go and click on eras, run from 1965 through to 1991. So that's the Cold War era essentially is covered in the game with all the different factions. So every faction has then got specific dates where they where certain things will change. Like, for example, their basic morale, their training levels. So these may sort of drop as we sort of go through each one. You can see there in 1970 to 1974, the morale and training both dropped. 75 to goes back up again. 82 goes even higher. 87 to 91 is still is higher yet again. So the Americans are sort of much more heightened towards the back end of this one. It also allows you then to choose what type of formations you have available. If you sort of you can use Google to sort of get it like to find out when certain things actually do occur. But if we have a bit of a look, we've got the M1A1 tank platoons back and through this other side. These ones come in at 1985 and finish in 1990. We've got in fact, that's funny, I thought there'd be more. There's more of them. Yeah, there's more of them sort of as we sort of come back down. M1A1 tank selection there, 85-90. M1A1 tank platoons. So you can sort of, that's 90 to 91. And these will often have like specific, like this one gives you a bit of a clue as to when to start looking at what to sort of then go and make use of. If you do know when the thermal sights came in for different countries, that's useful as well. So, for example, if we're playing Denmark, one thing we'll notice with the formations in Denmark is that we do actually have a combination of mainly Centurion tanks through here, and I always look at platoon because it just goes like platoons are the we're always going to have a tank squadron and an SHQ as well. So the platoons are the main ones to sort of have a look at. But you'll see there for Denmark, the Centurion tanks go from 81 to 85 there. This one here goes from 86 to 91. We've got another one. And these are all different variants of the actual tank, but you can choose your dates, and what they will then have is different abilities. So you can ultimately sort of just go back and have a look, or you can just Google and find out when did Denmark ever get thermal sights, and just see what year that came in. Thermal sights are important because they cut through. If we just keep on going back down, these have also got a combination of Centurions and then Leopards. So the Leopard tanks sort of come in, or we've got 76 to 80. So Denmark uses pretty much straight off the bat, British and German, like West German technology. So a lot of countries did actually use the Leopards more so than the American tanks. So West Germany had, like they were shipping them all over the place. These different tanks. Very, very good tanks, the Leopards. So, but at this stage, they're only sort of giving everyone the old Leopard 1s, whereas if we go to the FRG, they should have Leopard 2s by the end of this. Yeah, there's Leopard 2s coming in around 81 to 84. So they've actually got their Leopard 2s already sort of coming out, but they're not sharing those. So it's just saying, hi all, Scandanavia, what is that? Well, it's Northern Europe. Did I spell it wrong? Scandinavia. No, I didn't. That's okay. I thought that you may be being facetious about what my spelling. I often do, because it's early in the morning for me, and I often do miss things like that. Anyway, they've got, so the West Germany is going to have the higher level tanks, but the things like Denmark, they do make use of the of predominantly Western forces. So in terms of their main battle tanks, we're looking at Centurions predominantly, along with some Leopards. Norway is also mainly just going to be Leopards, so they have even a less sort of less in their mix of things. If we have a bit of a look down through the list there, so they mainly are just using Leopards and Leopard 1s. So Norway is a little bit less in their toolkit for main battle tanks. They do have this one here. I wonder what this one is. This tank troop, the 1A5 Norway. This will be a Norway version of A5. I wonder if FRG has got a. 85, yeah, 87 to 91. So it's fairly late. Let's have another quick look at Norway's. Again, I haven't looked at this, but this is so that one there. If we look at the tank troop here, 90. This one, they only get this one basically for the last few months of the actual scenarios. So they do pick up these Leopard ones that have been specially made for Norway. So that's actually where they come through. Sweden is an interesting one. They've actually don't use any of. They've got their own. They do use others. Their tanks are these STRVs, the tank platoons that we see through here, and so these are from 65 through to 69 is the 101. Then we have a different 101 there, which will have a different variation coming from 1970 to 1980. Then they're from 81 to 87. So the 101s end up sort of finishing their lifespan at around about 1987. 102s pick up from 67, and I forget which way that goes. The 101 I think is like a light to medium tank that they sort of have. Then we have the 102s I think are a heavy tank. So we end up with these big heavy tanks in through here. But these are just Centurion tanks that have been retasked for the Swedish forces. So they've just got big British Centurion tanks that they sort of use as their heavy tank all the way through. So that's another 101R tank. And we've got a 102R tank in through here, coming back up through this other side. The interesting thing with with all of these tanks for Sweden is that they don't actually have thermal sights on them at all. They don't get their thermal sights until about 1994, so they can't cut through the smoke. So smoke against Sweden is viable. I haven't checked Denmark to see when they started using the thermal sights. But anyway, so they've got the 102s, the 104s are still just going to be Centurion tanks. I wish it would show the graphic. Actually, it would be pretty cool if we put the graphic in this sort of little area through here. But then the interesting one for Sweden is that they've got a home-built tank called the 103, which is called the S tank. And so the 103s essentially end up going through from 67 to 1970 for that particular one, for the 103A. It's only around for a short period of time. Then we've got a few different variations of the B, 70 to 80, then we've got 81 to 88, and then the C through here is 86 to 1990. So that's sort of that's the C variant, and then we've got another one that goes from 90 to 91. But none of these have got thermal imaging. But these are really interesting tanks. I did a live stream on the yesterday actually for the launch on the Slytherin channel, and I wanted to show off these S tanks. These are essentially, they're basically, every other country would call them tank destroyers, but Sweden called them a main battle tank, and so they use them as a main battle tank. But they're extremely low, and they've got like they don't have a turret. They've just like the gun is mounted into the actual chassis, and so they've got extremely low profile, and they're built for survivability. That's actually what they had built them for, and so that's sort of like the main tank. They're still using them, I think. Like variations of the 103. So that's what we have to play with. I don't mind if you guys have got like a so the S tank as it's called, so Scythel, yes. Yes, it says Scythel says Sweden uses Centurions and Leopards too. They don't use Leopards in this period. They only use Centurions. So the all the 101s, 102s, 104s, or I think 102s and 104s are Centurions in this period. So anyway, who should we play as? I'll leave that up to you guys. I know that many of you will be from these regions, so the choice will be either Sweden, Denmark, or Norway. So just let me know in the chat if you want me to play a particular one. My preference is to play Sweden to show off the S tanks. That's what I'd be doing if I needed to, just because they're such a unique tank. And we then do have to sort of, there we go, we've got a, so Halfman saying Sweden. I think Sweden is the most interesting of the factions that have been brought in, simply because they have their own tech in it. Whereas the other, like Denmark and Norway, are really just cobbling together other pieces. So Istar is saying Norway. Okay, so Scythel saying no, we have stopped using them. Now it's a Leopard tank. We go Sweden, not biased at all. We've got two Swedens at this stage, one Norway. I'll just fill up my water, and then I'll come back, and if there's any other votes. As a Dane, I think you should play Denmark, says Ulrich. Well, more there to hit really, so, but not that I'm Swede. Anyway, let's keep on going. Got another Norway as well. Hang on. Okay, we've got 2 Norways, 1 Denmark, 2 Swedens, 3 Swedens now. Sweden for the same reasons you listed. Yep. Okay. Look, that's enough. I'll play Sweden. And so we'll make sure that we play with the S-tanks, and so you can sort of see what they're like. They're pretty damn cool, I've got to say. I've been playing with them a bit. I've been testing the game for the last few days before the launch, and sort of just looking, because one of the really cool things about this game is that each faction plays incredibly differently. Like, so the USSR, for example, with their their T variations like T55s, T72s, T64s, T80s, etc. Their actual equipment is actually not that great, like the USSR. So they're cheapish forces that they use. They don't use thermal sights. So for them, it's all about sort of being able to advance, like mass advances with cheap forces. US Army is the opposite. This is actually high quality. Thermal sights come in very, very early for the US Army, so they're using equipment that can cut through the smoke, and but their tanks are extremely expensive. Whereas Sweden's a really nice little choice, because we've got some like the 103s are cheap to build, very, very survivable because they're so small, and and they really hit really, really hard. So I think what we'll do is, yesterday I actually, when I was looking at the actual different variations for the C platoon, it comes in 1986. So I started playing with the 103Cs. So to have maybe I should just, no, I won't spend too much time dicking around showing the how to sort of then find out what's on these tanks. Actually, maybe I should. If I go into this STRV 103C tank platoon has got an ID of 2034. If I go across into, is it units? I think it's units. If I then have a look at the 2034, is that going to show it? No, that's not it. Is it formations now? If I go to formations, 2034, I can do a search if I wanted to, but I don't want to. 2034 is this one through here. So we've got the STRV. Actually, that's a B. We go. This is 2035. Did I say the right one? This is this one then uses an ID. So this one here, we know that this one came in 1986 because we looked at it from the factions. The formation, it doesn't tell us when this one starts, but it does give me now another clue into the actual main battle tank ID. So we've now got 1215. So if I now go into units, this is the inbuilt editor for the game, and if I go to 1215, 1215, back up here. So I've then got it here, the STRV 103 main battle tank. From here, it then shows me the and there'll often be little useful information written down by the database managers, for the actual game itself. But if I go to weapons and ammunition, I can then see that I've got like a few different weapons in through here. I've got like a 105 L62 gun. And this one here is an ID of 455. Now, I happen to know that this one doesn't have any sort of night vision on it at all, but these ones here do. So the coaxial machine gun, there's just a 7.62 coaxial machine gun, does actually have some, like the only sort of anything that comes close to night vision is what we actually have in through here. And if I then go to weapons, this one is 439. So if I go to weapons, go down to 439. Yep, there it is there. Coaxial machine gun. And we can then sort of see that this one has got like night vision. Now, it's got a So it's got Hull Coax, I'm not sure what that one is, Studvagon 103. So this is actually a variation in the game for that particular STRV 103C. And it's got Lyrian Illuminating Mortar. So this one must sort of fire, like I guess there's sort of like almost a tracer round type thing. To go and then sort of illuminate certain things. Will actually, so in the game it sort of models the way that night vision does work. Now these sorts of anything that is illuminating is not going to cut through smoke, so these guys are going to be useless against smoke, but it's only the machine gun that can actually look and see through the has got any chance of sort of seeing through nighttime sort of areas. But this is as close as we get playing as Sweden to night vision. I'm not sure about Denmark. Denmark may be higher quality, but I'm really not sure about that one. So Thornton Ellerman saying, hi Daz, is it now possible to make your own maps based on real-world data? Yes, it is. There's actually a map editor. Let's just go back to the main menu. Exit without saving. So there's a database editor, mission editor. There is a way to do it, but I'm not exactly sure how to do it. You've always been able to do it. Like I'm pretty sure. Actually, I think. So now I'm sort of a bit thinking maybe I'm getting my games mixed up. The mission editor is going to be only taken from. Actually, no, you can, because if I just go back to the main editor. If I go to new game and go to generate mission. And then go across to here. I've got Northeast Switzerland. Northeast Switzerland is a mod. So somebody has made this map. So this is actually a map that somebody has actually made for the game. So there's a fair few of these on the workshop. So there will be information just with the community about how to actually build your own maps. So you can actually go and do this. So I downloaded this one because I was interested in the question there. But so people are putting these things together. So there's a fair few different maps that people have put together there. So Thornton Element saying, I bought that with the game in mind. I wanted to battle it out through my own town. Yeah, it's a good idea. It's a pretty good idea. So you can actually, and like the maps the new maps that they've brought in are only 30 kilometres by 30 kilometres for these different areas. All right, well let's play as Sweden in this case. So we'll just go back out. Now I think I'll just play a single mission. Maybe let's generate an actual campaign and just sort of see how we go. So Boland is in sort of saying, I wonder how battle plan custom maps will go if their map making tools are released. Yeah, I'm not sure actually. Yeah, it's I mean each battle location is sort of curated, so it's not like this one which comes from just one big map. So anyway, let's continue on. So we'll just go into a new game. We're going to go into generate campaign. I think I will take it through the through Trelleborg. So this is around from the airport. Where should we go? So we go. Let's make it a bit narrower. The actual map sizes. So I'll make them around about say the width of say 3, and I'll just bring that down a little bit. It's square. It's going to be just a little bit larger. It will actually automatically change around as things actually do happen. So let's go and start with our game. I wouldn't mind sort of coming back down along this road, but I wouldn't mind having a little bit where we end up. So let's go to Skurup as a starting point for. Actually, let's go and make our location Trelleborg. So we'll make these outskirts of Trelleborg where we start. There's a whole lot of open plains in through here. We'll go into Anderslov. Now we'll just move across the fields out to there. I'll try to make this sort of like the first actual combat that we end up having. And maybe up into these hills a little bit as well. And then across to Skurup as the final. So that's going to be where we generate the campaign. This one should be able to work it. It may have trouble with the mountains. Nope, that's fine. And so it's actually made them all. So I've done it around the wrong way. I'm just going to right click again. Let's just go and change this one. I'll do that again. Trelleborg, Anderslov, up into the mountains, and across to Skurup. So the group that we bring in is going to have to fight in that, sort of essentially they're going to have to be able to fight in mountains, but mainly out on the flats. So the flats are going to be important to us. So now JFG is in saying, is the campaign missions for this DLC any good? I always play these generated ones because you don't you can actually you can end up with all sorts of different scenarios, and you have to then plan your way through. The campaign for this release, it starts off, for example, at Malmo Airport. So and I've only played the first actual mission. Got smashed, by the way. So the Malmo Airport one is you're playing with just limited forces, like just a few infantry platoons, and those platoons have to try to defend the airport against Russian special forces that get helicoptered in, and so it's sort of like a very small engagement. But but the interesting thing about that particular first mission is that you have to decide when the Russians are going to be overwhelming you, and then you have to retreat. So there's actually a retreat during that starts off as a retreat type mission. I think there's a couple of them that end up being retreat missions at the start, just so that you can extract your forces. And the reason I think they show that is because when you are playing these campaigns, you do follow, like everything continues on battle after battle. So survivability is really, really important, even with these generated campaigns. So no matter which way you play it, you don't want to be, if you're losing, you don't want to just throw everything into the meat grinder, because you then have to pick up the pieces afterwards with those forces and then try to keep on fighting. So it's actually really, really cool the way it does work. They've really hit a sweet spot with that. Roshananti is in saying, hey Daz, been following you for years and finally caught an actual live stream. You actually got me addicted to Shadow Empire. Is the new game I'm going to have to deal with? I love you, Connor. Thank you. It's Shadow Empire has just had another update. They're gearing up for their DLC launch, which I'm looking forward to. Anyway, we're going to be playing sort of like in this region here, which has got actually we are playing in the town. Looks like the town is going to be slightly our way than anywhere. So we may have a bit of an advantage there, but it's going to be very, very open terrain that we then are playing. We didn't go along this road, did we? We were on that island when we had a look at it in the Google Maps. So anyway, let's just keep on going, and so this will be the campaign that will then be generated for us. And each of these, we sometimes can skip over maps. If we win very, very well, we may skip a map and end up at this map through here to then sort of fight through these hills once we sort of do this one. So let's just go and click on Done. I can check different things, like here, for example, like if you're playing some of the maps where the water is really, really dangerous. In fact, this may be a way to do those islands, is you've got water, you can actually change it from varied, which is then the map dictates how deep or accessible water actually is. And so if you've got like a stream, like that can just be crossed. If you've got like a minor like a creek, that can still be crossed, but it'll sort of slow you down. If you've got rivers, they're impassable, so you need to go across bridges. So that's the way that the water then works, but you do actually have impassable. So all water is impassable, or fordable, all water is fordable, or varied. I'm just going to keep it on varied, so it just makes use of the waterways that are part of the actual map itself. If for the campaign, you can allow night battles and allow varied weather as well. So I'll definitely leave those on because that could be interesting. Just go and click on Done. So what we'll do is we'll play as Sweden, back up through here. Now I tend to play as one of the other factions that we rather than the USSR. So now I'm going to also change it to 1986 so that we end up with those areas. And I don't know, like I come from a hot country, so I always like playing it where the terrain changes back to winter. So I think we might do that. We'll just go from June. There we go. We've got spring terrain now. So these are this is how the maps are going to then be dictated. We've now got winter terrain back in February. So let's keep it in February. Time of the day, we can actually sort of move this around to sort of have a start that's going to be at night time heading into dawn, somewhere like that, for example, where we end up with some darkness. Let's go and start there. So the first map that we play is going to be like this, and you can see there it's sort of got like it's maybe a bit hard to sort of see it, but there is like a twilight area there. Let's just go and start it at 7:38, or even maybe a little shade earlier. Yeah, we've got. Let's just let's pop it in here, just so that we're not going to see all that well. But we do have those sort of, what are they called? I think it's illuminating machine guns. Not that it's going to help us with much at all. We'll just start there. So with the USSR, I tend not to play against them just because they are of the Eastern Bloc countries. These have got better equipment, and when we're playing as the smaller groups, I do try to sort of then end up with a smaller one. So we've got the GDR, which is actually, this will also be fairly powerful. We could play against them. We've got Poland. That's pretty much it, really. So at USSR, maybe we do play against the USSR and just sort of see how we go. I mean, the Sweden's actual, their doctrine, their battle doctrine was as if if the USSR does invade them. So that's sort of why they built the S-tanks. So we'll just keep on going with that one, I think. So Lint Ford Pickle is saying, evening, Dad. Same here in EU. Have I finally caught a live stream? You have indeed. Welcome. So anyway, we'll just continue on with the... I normally don't have time at this time. I'm usually either doing a Slytherin stream or I'm sort of rushing off. But today I do actually have a bit of time up my sleeve, so which is good. So I started a bit later than what I normally do. Okay, so these are now all sort of set up so that you can see there the USSR has got lower training, lower morale. Their command delay is 30 seconds. Ours is 20 plus another 20 seconds to give commands to different units. Artillery delay for them, it's 2 minutes to 20 minutes. Ours is 1 minute 30 to 8 minutes. Combat power, we can change like what type of units we then sort of go and make use of. I'm going to keep mine on like just mechanised, and I'll allow them to have mechanised forces as well. So we'll just go that way. You can play dynamic yourself if you're wanting to, where you actually then can build whatever you like, and that can be a good way to go. But let's just go and click on done. So these are the numbers that we have to then play with. So we've got 2400 to play with here with the combat power. I'll just keep that where it is. I can reduce these, which will then reduce their allowance. So their allowance, they don't have to cobble together their forces from battle to battle, but we do. So they've got fresh forces based on what the type of attack, what type of battle we actually have. So the first one's going to be a meeting engagement where they'll have exactly the same combat power that we actually have. Actually, did I do the right thing there? I'll just go and click on done. Yeah, so if we're attacking them, they can go down to 1300, and if they're attacking us, they can have 7,000. So where we need to do a lot more attrition. So if you're dug in, that certainly makes it much easier. We're going to go manual unit selection. I'm just going to click on. I think I may have screwed up here. Yeah, I have. I'm just going to go and restart. Do that again. Sorry. Trelborg. And that's the angles that we want. Let's make it a bit deeper. There we go. So Trelborg, up through here, up through these mountains to Skurup. Just regenerate these maps. So we're starting back in here again, that's fine. What I wanted to do is I wanted to turn off the aircraft just so we don't have to worry about putting aircraft in and also having to deal with aircraft. So let's just go and click on done there. Again, that's all fine. This is what I wanted to change. So it's Sweden, USSR. It's remembered everything we had just done, which is good. But the air superiority, what I want to do here is actually go to none, just so that nobody's using the actual units. Also, these neutral units are like tractors and stuff. You really don't need them. I'll just put them on medium at this stage. But these are civilians. There'll be civilians on the map, which they'll just be around. Sweden. Now we've got a little bit more to play with this time. I think because we had less with the other ones, let's just leave that one where that is. Let's click on done. All right, so we actually do have, these are the point allocation playing as a mechanised force up to 2,500. You'll see there that we have a lot more in armoured and mechanised than anywhere else. If we played as just infantry, we would have a small amount in these categories and a large amount just in infantry. If we and the thing here is we do actually have some scout capabilities, and so we've got the we've got dismounted scout platoons, and if I go and click on them, we can sort of see what they've got. So these got assault rifles, light machine gun, hand grenade, and there's nothing there showing you sort of any sort of night vision. No night vision through there. Norland scout platoon. These have essentially got little scout teams, but they're all into these all-terrain carriers. So we've got these all-terrain carriers with the scout teams on board. And again, we're not seeing any night vision with any of that stuff. Wheeled scout platoon in through here again. We're looking at a light utility truck, just pumping them around the place with the scout teams. We do have the recoilless rifle there, the Carl Gustav. So this can do anti-tank work a little bit with only 4 ammunition though. So they can sort of sit there. We've got 2 pages of those, and we can't do, these are all too expensive, these ones in through here. This is sort of like a scout tank. Again, no night vision with any of these. There's a 103C scout platoon. This is actually the special low tank that we sort of see through here. We now start to see night vision here with those coaxial machine guns. This is exactly the tank that we looked at. It's used as, in this case, it's used as a scout, as a forward scout. Well, we can't afford it because we've only got 128, and this is 220 to bring one of these in. So we're going to go back to. I actually like the idea. We've got the platoon here with 3. This one here is just sort of like they're literally just. They've only got the. They don't really have. They've got a little bit of anti-tank capability, but not a hell of a lot. So I can actually get in 2 of these, or 1 of these. These have got the Carl Gustav recoilless rifle. Which makes them a little bit more, like these are essentially, like that's just a small scout team there, the commander. But these ones here, I think I prefer these. Just for what they can do. I can bring 4 of those into the map, which will then give me vision. So I think what we'll do is let's go and make use of those. We'll add 2 of those. Scouts are really important. We'll just get 2 dismounted scout sections. That's our scouts out of the way. So we've used up 112 points at this stage. Let's go back to our tanks, and we're going to go straight to the 103s. So I've got 103Bs, and if I go and have a look at the tank, let's just go to the tank platoon. I can then sort of see that there's no, like for the Bs, I don't actually have any sort of night vision capabilities whatsoever. So that's what the B looks like. And then if I just go down to the C, which is on the next page, this one, it won't change much, but it will change a little bit with the tank platoon here. I'll just try to get it on the side. And click. So you can see that we've got skirts that now get attached to it. So a little bit more survivability with the C, and then we do actually have the night vision. Sometimes the up to a kilometre night vision can be spotlights as well, but we're not. And if they were they'll be on the model. I can't rotate the model, unfortunately, which would be good if we could. But that's just sort of showing us the actual model for the tank. So these are incredibly low, these particular tanks. And you can see there through there, I can get one of these for 948, which means that I can almost get 2 of those. If we have a look at the tank company for the 104, so the 104 is actually is almost like, well, not double, but it's actually getting much higher, and so the actual platoon there is almost double again of one of these 103 tank platoons. If I go and click on this one through here, this is the big Centurion tank. So this is like a main battle tank, and again, it does actually have night vision. This one does actually have night vision on its main gun, so that's actually not too bad having one of these guys in the actual group as well. So they've got, we may throw one of these 104's main battle tanks in. We also then have, if we have a look, that's worth 400. If we have a look back through the 102's, these are 403. So these are 102Rs. So these have actually been revised. If I go and click again, when we're on the side, we've got the side skirts there. and we've got side skirts there. It just changed very, very slightly. These are still the British Centurion tanks. Still got the night vision. There must be something slightly different. It may be that they've got like a different engine in them. If we have a bit of a look. Oh, this one actually goes faster. That's interesting. It goes faster. It's got a different gun there. If you have a look at the armour. No, the gun was the same. The armour was the same. It just goes slower, this one. It might be reactive. It might... it's still the same. It's exactly the same there. Not sure why... like, this one's much, much slower. It must be an engine, a change of the engine. But I'm not sure why that one's cost what it does. We've got the 102s back and through here, another Centurion tank, another 34. This one doesn't have any sort of night vision at all. So I'm guessing the other one does actually have, if we have a look at the tank platoon here, yes, with that's probably just a spotlight, to be honest, with what we sort of see there. So so that's actually not going to do too much. I'm just thinking we probably end up with just an extra platoon. With the 102s back there, and we'll just go back to the first page. So then we've got the 101s. These are just worth 365. Still, compare the S tanks, which are only 200. So we've got the tank platoon in through here, which is again a Centurion tank. So the 101s are Centurions. And again, these ones do actually have the night vision as well, but the armour is lower than what it was, and it's still fairly slow. So these are big tanks. Then we've got the 101 back this way as well. Night vision is now gone completely at this stage for these, and these are just worth 307. And then we actually have these anti-tank platoons as well, and even these are worth more than than what we end up having. These are tank destroyers, but they do actually sort of still have a dedicated turret. So these are worth just a little bit more than what we end up having. These ones do have night vision on their 90mm gun. But if we just go back across to the 103s again, which is what we're going to be playing with. So theirs have got no night vision, but they're a stronger gun. They're a 105mm gun. So I'm going to grab a company of those. So I'll play with those. This then stops us from getting, actually we can't get any more companies, but I can now start to maybe just get like a tank platoon. So let's go and throw in a tank platoon of, well, these are fast. How fast are these? These are 55 kilometers per hour. These are these are really purpose built. Like these little S tanks are purpose built. But let's bring a group of Centurions in as well. Throw them in as well. So we'll just go and get those. So we've only got 444 left in the armoured category to go and bring them in. We're going to need to probably try to get a couple of companies of mechanised forces. So let's just go to mech forces in through here. Now we've got again a few different sorts of variations in through this group as well. If we just go back across the Remo application here for the PBV, this one does have night vision a little bit with its autocannon. It's got a 20mm autocannon, which is actually pretty good. So this one does have good abilities, and it's got 35mm armor and 60. So it's got 35. I think it's Kevlar, and I think there's no reactive armor though. I don't think on these. Anyway, to get a company here is 745. This one here is just the 302, but we've still got the autocannon, but doesn't have the night vision. So the 302 there just costs a little bit less because of the lack of the spotlight, I guess it is, or whatever they're actually using. We also have the these units in through here as well, which are this company here is a bit cheaper. But this one's only got a 762 machine gun. So not very powerful. So I'm better off getting the PBVs. And I'm pretty better off getting the night vision. Just go back to the other page. What else do we have? So we've got motorised platoon in through here. This is cheaper again. This is just purely they're coming through with all-terrain carriers. So they're actually on board these, just rifle squads. They do actually have a designated marksman rifle in there as well, so they've got like a sniper. What do the others have got? This has got Carl Gustav, that's the RCL squads. Okay, there's not much there, there's only 3 squads there with those. If I can get even more troops on the ground. That's going to be important. Let's have a look at this infantry platoon here. Do we end up with 4 here on these tractors? They only go at 30 kilometres per hour. So not very not very strong with what we end up having. So the rifle squads here, we do have an RCL squad with the Carl Gustav. Yeah, that's not great. That's not great. Infantry, that's a different infantry company with platoons with tractors again. So I don't really like the tractors, to be honest. Just go back across. These guys here have got, like if we look at the company, they've got the 1 HQ unit, which is just going to have security and observation squad on board. And it's got a couple of these little vehicles. They're just identical. Okay, so we've got like a spare, I guess. If we go back to the platoons, rifle squad here does have the Carl Gustavs. So we actually have, this one's the commander unit, which still has a Carl Gustavs. These are ones, what do they have? They've got the light machine guns down through this other side, but they don't have the radio. All right, so that's, and there's only 3 of those. If we have a look at this next version down through here, this one as well has got the radio. They've all got Carl Gustavs, but the light machine gun. So this one here for 700, we've got, I've only got 1,000 points left over to spend. And I've only got the 3 squads here. This company here, what do they have? Same deal there. These are much, much cheaper. So what I can do is I can grab one of these. Well, I might as well get the night vision to see if I can actually do it. Now that means we can't afford this one. Let's get rid of that. Still can't afford it. Yeah, it's taking me too close. If I go back to just infantry, where they're just on the ground themselves. I can't get the full-blown companies here. Yeah, I would have liked to have grabbed a full company of troops. I can get individual platoons if I have to. Even the Home Guard, I still can't afford that either. Do I get rid of this tank platoon? I don't really want to. If I get rid of one of the scout sections, let's remove that. Does that open anything up for us? Not really. No. I think I'm going to have to ditch this. Let's ditch that. That thing should give us the company level from here. Actually, I might be able to, if I bring back the scout section again, so I'll just bring one of those back in, and then go back into here. So with the, so we've already got one, the PBV 302 Mech Infantry Company. So that's actually coming through. I'll just remove that as well. In fact, I'll just get rid of that as well, because I'll just keep this 2 scout groups just so we got it constrained here. We'll just go back to the 103s. So just grab one of those, go back into the mech forces. I think having troops on the ground is going to be ultimately more important for the overall, for what we're doing. So we'll just go into this company here, and I can actually get myself another mech infantry company from here, or I can go with the cheaper versions with these guys here. Let's have these as a follow-up group. So I'll throw those in. Still gives me a little bit to play with, and so what I want to do here is now go to my specialized areas. I don't need anti-air because we're not going to have any aircraft in what we're doing. So we'll flick across. We've got anti-tank groups, but none of these have got like proper thermals. Like they're not able to see through smoke, so it's not going to help me all that much. So what I do need is I need support, and so the support is going to be in the way of mortars, essentially. So we've got we've got howitzers. If we have a look at these howitzers, only got it's the ammunition's the important thing, and we don't know how much smoke they've got. So we've got different howitzer sections there. Ammo 40, heavy is 44. The more I can get, the better. The mediums, I've got 51, so they're probably the better option for me. And so I can get a couple of those. These will be able to hit anywhere on the map, so I don't need to actually have them motorized. So I'll just go and grab 2 of those. Actually, we've got, what's the difference there? Really nothing at all. Now I can actually get a 3rd one. Let's do that. It's taken us very, very close now. I don't think there's anything else we can really go and pick up. There's an anti-tank section there. Little small RCL carrier, like with a large recoilless rifle. On top there, 16 ammunition. Wow, why not? Let's go and throw it in. All right, so that's our lot in life. We're right on the very, very limits here. So this is actually the group that we now have to go through the whole campaign with. And if we take losses, we then have to try to not lose too many. So that's all we're going to have. Go and click on Done. Now, when you're setting up the campaign, I do like to save these. So we'll just do a save. What I'll do is I'll save the dynamic campaign. So it's actually now placed that one in my save areas. If you play with player character, this is going to then have one of the sections, one of the commander sections will be you, and if you lose that character, you essentially lose the whole campaign. So that can make life a bit difficult, and then you tend to hear the noises from what the commander hears, so it can be a bit limiting to play as the player character. Reduce delay. If you don't like the fact that you have to wait to give your orders to get characters to move, you can reduce the overall delay, so it becomes almost instantaneous, but I like having it on, so I'm going to keep it on there. Show hidden in the AAR. I do like to see this one. This is the after action report. So this one shows you what troops were left of the enemy, where they were and you know how the actual situation was. I always find that interesting. Show the victory levels back in through here as well. I have this one turned on, so you know exactly when the battle's going to end. It is. I might turn it off. It's the game is by default has it off, and this one, by not knowing how you're doing, there's a big factor, a big unknown factor, and I think it's part of the game. Like I think it's an enjoyable part of the game is to not know, is to think that you're doing well but not really being sure, and then always play enemy sounds. If you have this one turned on, then anywhere you go on the battlefield, like with the camera, you'll then hear the sounds of that region. And so I keep that one off. That's also cheating a little bit. Like if you're unsure where tanks are, for example, you can just zip around on the battlefield down low and listen for engine noises. So it does give you a way to sort of see how things go. So I'm going to leave them off. I'm not going to give any sort of extra points to anyone. That's all done. Actually, I'll just play. So in we go. And so this is now, if we had the aircraft turned on, we'd then be able to have another set of points for we can then start to go and build the various forces with scout helicopters and then various aircraft from the Swedish forces of this era to sort of bring them through, but we don't have it. We may also have had points there for artillery, which we don't actually have. So I've got no real points there to be able to do this either. So so that's not going to. It is letting us do it. It shouldn't. Oh no, it actually is. It is. I can bring in two of these. One of the external artillery. Look, I will do that in that case. So we've got, this is going to be off-map artillery, and artillery minefields may be available. But this one here, we've got like the 48 smoke. This is going to be important potentially for us. So that actually works out well. So we'll just go and click on Done. Now we have to set up where we're likely to be then wanting to use those artillery. So when the map comes in, so this is the actual, this is the little map that we're playing in through here. And we're coming from the left-hand side across the right-hand side. The objectives are just on their side. This is a meeting engagement, so the objectives are randomized with what we're sort of doing. But the game is fully 3D, so as I sort of start to come back down, we can then at least get a bit of a feel for the battlefield. And this is really important to analyze what you're doing in the game itself, just to sort of get a bit of a feel. The easiest, I've got to say, the game is clunky in terms of its camera controls, and I know that they've done some work on that, but it really, compared to a lot of other games that use scroll wheel to sort of get down low with 3D, this game is probably on the worse end of that sort of aspect. So this takes a little bit to get used to. You're probably better off using the mini map to quickly have a look, from a different vantage points. You do actually have like a bit of a height map in through here as well. If I go and click on height, I can then sort of see the height levels being sort of shown on the actual map itself in through here. If I just go and click that one back, but I can see them just as clearly down this way. So we can sort of see different ridge lines. Like if I go and click back over through here, then sort of scroll this on around, so I'm looking at the actual what's going on. You can see there when I sort of scroll in and out, the camera is not really your best friend in this game, to be honest. So that's down at ground level. So we sort of see what it's like, from the ground level at different locations. But this little hill that we sort of saw through here may actually give us a bit of a vantage point out of this long plain. But again, if you're trying to sort of figure out what really is going to be going on, and it doesn't just go straight up, unfortunately. To go straight up, you've got to look straight down and then zip around. I want to find out what we actually end up having. So if I click on the height map again, if I press H, I can then sort of see the height map of where different ripples in the ground are. There's nothing big in this particular map, so it's all fairly flat. And so I can go and press the L key now for line of sight, and I can then start to sort of see. Now initially this is showing me for this time of the daylight, which is just dawn. So we're going to be able to get into locations fairly early. You can see there at around about there, this is on our side of the map. If I go and click it from that location there, that's a pretty good vantage point everywhere around on the actual map itself. And as I sort of move up, yeah, there must be the ridge lines actually. There must be more ridge lines than what we think. If I just press L again, let's just have a look for an actual ridge line, just so we can sort of try to sort of pick it. This on top of this ridge line here. Just go and press L. Yeah, from there, that little ridge there. So the ripples in the ground are going to give protection. So it may be worth rushing forward with tanks into this open terrain, and then rushing forward with infantry to then try to sort of control the town. That's probably what we're going to have to do, I think. In this case, the town is not going to have very much in the way of being able to sort of see past the different areas. These objectives are both on the side of where the Russians are going to be coming from. So I'm thinking rushing into here is going to be very, very important, and setting up your forces initially is vitally important. But it's pretty cool the way the game works. I really thought this was going to be a big flat map, but there are the ripples in the ground here. So yeah, once we get on this halfway point, we then get to sort of see different things. I think we'll just fudge it a little bit in this regard. Just read a few more of the comments. What do we get up to? JFG is into the thing. I'll definitely check it out. Loving Swedish vehicles. I guess they upgraded the graphics a bit, but still waiting for multiplayer. Each country plays differently, like you said, so it'll be awesome. Yeah, no, it really is quite different. They've all got different doctrines. Like in this case, the Russians will be throwing swarms of troops at us. There'll be tanks and stuff like that as well. It's not going to be easy for us with what we end up having. And so Solar is saying, why do you say able units? Just I don't want to be managing them, to be honest. It means that I then have to, it sort of almost feels like it's a random element. So it's like once the aircraft start to fly around, all you're really doing is trying to avoid them. And so I prefer to just be focused purely on the actual game itself, on the map, rather than trying to get troops into, like getting tanks into tree lines and stuff like that. So it's just going to be a bit more micromanagement to have the aircraft on there. So I prefer playing it without it. Yeah, it's one of those things where, and also it's just, for me it feels a little bit overpowered and a bit randomised. So yeah, I do prefer it there. So Rosanati is then saying, yeah, I've been keeping an eye on this as well, but would love that multiplayer before I pick it up. I'm not sure if the plans are for multiplayer. I haven't heard anything about that personally. Not sure if it will ever be multiplayer. I don't think the first one ever was. It wasn't, I'm pretty sure. I believe there's multiplayer being worked on at the roadmap. Oh, okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. There we are. Anyway, let's just press L again. So we're going to we know that the ridges are going to protect us to a degree, and we also know that the Russian forces are going to be pretty much the same as us with what they can see. Just our tanks are weaker than theirs, but have got a lower profile. So they've got better survivability, but they're not as strong as as some of the bigger Russian tanks. Now we've got these are the various recon squads that we end up having. So I'm just going to go and position these. So when you're positioning your forces, it's just click on them for both. Go to standard operating procedures. One thing I like to do is make sure that the pathfinding is going to be in cover for these guys. Defensive stance, which I don't know if that's been fully implemented yet in the game. I want them to hold their firing, so they're not. You can see the little icons are appearing around them. Rate of fire doesn't really matter that much. Seek cover, yes. So I want to make sure that they're doing that. So that one's now been set up that way, and we need to now just do the same with the other one. So go and click on it. Standard operating procedures, cover, defense, hold, and seek cover, yes. That didn't take. Cover, defense, hold, seek cover, yes. So that means that individually when I go into the standard operating procedures, we'll see cover, defense, hold, and then seek cover, yes. That's what I want for those guys. I don't want them firing unless they absolutely have to. And so what I want them to do is I want them to be positioned somewhere where they can hide away. Now, there's nowhere to hide over here except further back. We can also try to infiltrate with scout units. So these are treated differently to the others. I think I'm going to bring them all back into these areas. So let's just go and bring one scout group. And I don't want them firing at anything. So for press space, I can then sort of move them in. So I'll move them into this location. So they're in that. So the commander is in that group there. I'm just going to go and position this one here. Where I position it, it should end up going back there, but sometimes this doesn't work. I'm then going to right-click and click on Infiltrate, which is actually something that recon units can do. And I'm going to infiltrate to this building here, or even just to that one there. The deeper I go in, the more dispersed, and see how it changes from a bright green to sort of like almost like a red color. The closer to this line that they start on, the more likely they are to end up in that sort of position. I'm thinking even just in here, we're going to be able to see different things. So let's go into this building here. So we're going to try to infiltrate to there, but it could end up being anywhere in that grouping. So I'll just allow them to stay where they are. Why is that still selected? Oh, that's no longer going to have connection at that point. These guys here, I'm just going to move them across. So space, and we'll place them in these buildings here. And I'll just get them to walk across the road. So with this particular group, I'm just going to go and press space, put them in that building. Click on this one, just get space, and so I'll just get them to go across. Now I can give specific orders to each unit. I can give them to both if they were connected, but they're no longer connected anyway. So we now just go across. We're just going to go to advance to that building there, and just stay there. In this case, now I've also got scout, which means move very, very slowly, but I think that we can just advance just means sort of walk across the road. So we'll just do a walk across the road here and just sort of go and sit in that building there. Hopefully they'll sort of be able to spot things around these different locations. That will give us vision, should give us vision out into the objectives. Now we've got we also have like an order of battle, so I can just make sure that I've got everything done. So the next thing we have is these. We've got essentially the various. What we've got there, that's an APC. The headquarters. What's that one doing there? Oh, that's the two headquarter units for the two mech platoons that we've got. Right, so we have to sort of think, okay, look, I'm going to have the Remo platoon is going to have to then sort of move in. So if I just go back to where C is, if I double click it, it'll then sort of show me that's the commander for that particular group. If I then go and pick up that grouping, where is it? Yeah, this is it over through here. So if I'm going to go and grab that whole section, which is going to include the HQ unit at the bottom there. So by selecting that one there, I'm just going to bring it across to this other side, and we're going to position these over through here. So just press space, move them over, and so we now actually have the 3 different squads along with the commander. They're sort of been positioned in depth. I'm just going to go to formations. I'm just going to make this go into a line formation. So it's now sort of positioned them side by side. I'm just going to change the formation to bring the spacing down, just so that they're sort of like fairly close to each other. So that's now just sort of got them set up, and then individually I'm just going to go in and we're going to have them run along the road networks to sort of get into the town. Now I don't really need them to get too involved in anything at all. There is these frozen lakes. Let's just go back into here, formation, just make them into a column, formation column, and formation column for those. And I can then just position these as well individually. So I'm just going to get this one close to the road. Get that one there as well. And I think I'll just bring this one down as well onto that road. So with each of these now, if we end up going through, again, we're not likely to see anything initially unless there's scout vehicles that sort of come back through. So I'm going to give them an order to move to contact rather than move to rather than advance. I could go fast to try to get into their position, but I'm going to go contact just in case there's scout vehicles. So I'm just going to go contact to there. I'm just going to give it sort of like orders of where to move to. And then we should actually be more specific about what we then go and do. So in this instance, I just want to get them across up into probably around this sort of region here. And then we'll just give them an offload order at that position, and then they can then sort of do what they have to do. So they're just going to be moving to contact. The whole group, if we look at the standard operating procedure, will actually, if I just go and click on an individual unit, this one is moving at quick pathfinding, so it's just going to go the fastest route. I'm happy for that at the moment. Stance will be, I think I'll still change these to defensive. Oh, that's just the one unit, sorry. I'll just go and grab the whole group again. So defensive, I'll make sure that the firing is going to be at effective range. And seek cover, what are they doing individually there with seek cover? Oh, they don't actually, the vehicles don't do that, that's okay. And then unload and contact, it's got no, I'll keep it on no because these have got a bit of survivability. So we'll sort of leave them where they are. Do the same thing in through here. So it's going to be quick, I'm just going to make it defense, effective, that'll do for that one there, and same here as well. So defense, effective, okay, and we now want to get these in as well. So I'm just going to go with this one here. This one's going to be to contact. These are on the main roads. So we'll just get these into town, and then we'll move them across into that tree line there. And then just do an unload into this area. So we don't have to rush getting to the objectives. And so this one here is just going to be going again to contact to that point, this point, and we'll then take these into the middle of the town. And offload. Unload sort of into there. That'll do us. Right, so that's now got everyone sort of sorted. So that's going to be the initial moves from these guys. They're going to be moving quickly along those roads. We then want to follow up with the other infantry. So these ones that don't have anywhere near the same level of protection. And so we're just going to go and move them across into here as well. And again, just change their formation so that they're actually in a line. We can sort of see them where they all are. We're just going into formation, just change the spacing so they're a little bit tighter. And really just want to have these now start to sort of come back up as well. Like you can see the headquarters units are still back in through here for both of these groups. And we'll need to move them up as well. So, so with this particular infantry group, this is one of these ones where I'm just going to move them up and then offload them further back. So I'm going to give them an order. So I'll just go back into, well, contact is not going to be all that good. If in fact, with all that whole group, I don't know if I can actually do this, but if I go to standard operating procedure, I want them to unload on contact in this case, because these aren't as powerful. You can see there's a little now red symbol showing that that's what's going to happen. They don't really have anything else they can do, so they might as well just go quick. Cover is going to be more important for them. I'll click on cover in this case, and we'll just go defensive. So that's going to be the standard operating procedure for all of these guys. Let's just go and move them all up to that line. So we'll just go and just get them up to this line through here. So in this case, they're just going to be an advance because there's nothing, they don't have any real way of doing anything. And at that point, we're then just going to give them an unload order. Just into there. There we go. So that will be all that they need to do. Okay, that's good. Now the actual group that we've got down into here, this HQ group, they've only got the one unit. And this is their HQ range, so I do want to bring these up as well. So we'll just go space, space, left click. And we're just going to get this one to also just advance. And then we'll just keep these at the back. And then offload. Actually, does that have troops? I think that is just the actual command vehicle for that one. This one's got troops on board. This one doesn't. So I'm just going to leave that one in there. So that can just sort of sit back in at that location. And I'll just go back to effective range. Actually, I might even just go hold so that this one doesn't actually engage unless someone else engages with it. This little headquarters group, these two, I'll just go into their standard operating procedure. We'll keep them in cover as well, defensive, hold. Leave that one where that is. And so these two as well, if I just have a bit of a look with what these can then go and do. That one, again, we've got the command radiuses back in through there as well. I'm not sure what the different colours mean, but this one, again, we want these up. So just grab both of these, and we'll move them in, probably into the same location, actually, have both commanders fairly central. And we'll just go and... I might even just leave them where they are for a little while and then just move them up after the initial movements. So I might as well just keep them back a little bit behind that little ridge line there. Now when we do that, quite often, when we move them individually, they disconnect. So if you've done that, just go and click on one of them, go to orders and just go reattach. That will then sort of reattach it back to that one through there. In fact, if I just do that one, that one's now my HQ. This is one with the actual headquarters unit on board. And so this one's got the security and observation squad on board there with the passengers. So that's important that we sort of just keep them back there, but we haven't given them actual orders yet. If I go and click on any of these, we should then sort of see, yeah, that group's got its own orders, so that's going to be fine. The things that we now have, we've got mortars, which can fire from anywhere on the map. And we don't have any real protection at the back. So I will just sort of leave them pretty much where they are, I think. So with the two mortars there, we've got another mortar group over there. Let's just position them further back. These are the anti-tank sections. I'm happy for them to sit down on this side of the road. Like if there's tanks that do come through this side, we're going to be in trouble. So we'll I'll just move them across so they can sort of sit in behind these. And we'll just get them to advance to contact just back in here as well. So that group there. All right, now that just leaves, we have a look at everything. We've got the HQ unit now for the armour. So the mortars don't need to do anything. Now we do actually have the target points here for the, we can set up 2 of these for us to then be able to use the artillery. And I'm thinking we're probably going to be better off doing it where we're likely to actually have to need it, like in around here. So if I do a target, it says on the side there, target reference points. So we need to set these in. This is for the off-field artillery. So it makes the off-map artillery respond faster. Artillery delivered mines need to have we don't actually have those. But if we need to protect our advance, we may need to have one out here for smoke. That may be important. So I think I'll build one out this way and another one for attack, more so coming through this other side, I think. It's more likely to be, are they likely to be further back? They could very well be. I think we'll actually just target this crossroad around here somewhere. There we go. That's the two TRPs. We don't have any more of those left. So that's fine where we are. And just unclick those. So the TRPs have now been positioned. So that's where the artillery can then sort of fire into. If we don't actually target into those locations, then we end up, it ends up being much slower to bring these the off-field artillery back into the fight. Now the tanks. So let's now move these across. So we've got those. We've got 4 groups. Now I'm going to bring C group across. Now these here again, if we look at the standard operating procedure for a tank, pathfinding is quick. I want to change that to cover. The stance is going to be defensive. The range is going to be effective. Rate of fire fast is okay. And main armament, yes. So we can. That's fine. So that's the only stuff we end up having. So I do want to have cover, defensive, effective. So I'm just going to go and grab all of them, because I don't get to see it through here. So I'm going to go to cover, defensive, effective. That's now just changed the all of the orders, standard operating procedures for everyone. You now sort of see it's cover, defense, effective. If I give them during battle, then there's like a 20-second delay. So with these guys, I really just want them moving up where they can sort of get some vision. So I think we'll keep, that's N, that one's M, actually that's the L, and then we've got this one here, which is O. I'm going to move O across the other side just to protect this flank. So position them over there. They're going to be disconnected. They're going to have a much bigger delay. So we might as well set these up initially. So let's just go and press the L command. We really want to just stop anything that sort of does come back through. You know, back where we are is actually not bad. In that case, I think I'll just keep them. If I put them on that road there is a little bit better than where we are. Yeah, so we don't have quite as much. This is showing the nighttime type aspect. That's like because it's evening that we don't get to see a night vision through the guns can sort of see that area. But I think if we just move out to here, it just gives us a little bit more to play with. Yes, it's a bit more obscured. So let's just move it to the other side of that to that area there. that'll do us. So get these guys. Right click. I'll just move them so that they move to contact just on this other side of the of that road. Okay, that's all we're going to do with those, and they're just going to sit there and defend. The rest of these guys. Now we've got this. This is really up and down through here, and again, I want to be ultimately on these ridge lines. So if we have a look again at the L command, there's like a high point there, which does look down a fair way. So it's just that little ridge there. So we'll just move to contact down to that side. And what I can do is just get the individual tanks and move and position them as well if I wanted to get them onto high spots. There's one here. So we'll just go and right click. It's now been disconnected. If I go and click on that group, actually, no, that one's still connected. That's okay. Must have radios and stuff. And we've got another high point back here. So I'll just go and position another one back this way. In fact, what I'll do is I'm going to go and put this one on that high point over here. So you can move to there, and then this one here specifically can move just down to this high point here. So just want to get them so that they've got they can sort of participate in the fight. Now that looks like a really nice little high spot there. So if we have a bit of a look at the line of sight tool, yeah, just in around those buildings actually is not bad. And then as we sort of come back up, we just get snippets. Yeah, it's funny sort of calling it a high point, but it is a high point. What about back here? Not really much. Yeah, that there is not terrible either. So I think I'll bring O section up to that road. Sorry, this is O, and it's M. So we'll bring M section up to here. So this will be just move to contact up to that point. And this is N section. I'm going to move them up to this other side. We'll probably just position these manually as well. Actually, I'll do that. I'll just do these ones individually here. So move to contact, back up on that little road there. And we'll then just position the last one a bit further back. Just probably going to be a little bit more hidden. Okay, so that's got all of the tanks now been allocated. And we've still got the command tanks, which are down in here. Again, we'll just double check their operating procedures, covered, yep, that's fine. And so these tanks, I'm just going to keep them, do we have any high points back in this way? Almost as a defensive type location. We really don't see much, but we do cover, actually even on this road, it's actually not terrible, is it? Just back there, I think. We'll just go and sit there. So right on that road. So we'll just go and position them. That'll do us. I'm happy with that. That'll do us there. Okay, hi Quark, how are you going? So can you name me a tank that'll blow up? No, I can't actually. We can't change the names in this game. They are what they are. Hang on, this is a utility truck. What? Oh, this is not what we. Oh, I thought these were tanks. These are just trucks. So both of these are utility trucks as well. Okay, this one just. So we want to keep these ones hidden away. In that case, I will actually just position these. I'll put this utility truck on this other side. If we can find somewhere to hide it. Actually, I'll move it further back. Stay in there. So I want to keep these hidden. These are really just going to be giving the orders to the various groups. Then we have this group in through here as well. So I can hide in there. In fact, we might as well get the other group, the other squad out of here. So if I just go back into orders for this one and just go to unload, it then just means that we've then got this little group in through here, which again is like a commander group. And I'm just going to keep them also just sitting at the back here. These should also be able to work as spotters. I'll just go and position it in that tree line just right there. So space, and up you go. Get that one, just move it back to the back there. All right, that's our HQs all set up. Everything is done. I think we're ready. So good idea to save the game at this point. Done. Okay, and let's resume and get started. Just I'd like to save because you see how complex it is to set it up, and if you screw it up, you do want to make sure it's sort of all working. So let's just get started. Now, before I do get started, you see it's paused already. So if you press escape, or if you go to the menu and then go to options, you can change all of your settings in here as well into actually camera speed. So what's that one do? Let's double the speed there because it's very annoying, the actual camera. So we'll try that one. Now you've got different settings from doing nothing, like this one, unit seeking cover. It's not going to do anything with the game. If you're playing with fast time, you can actually have it just go back to normal time, like if an enemy ground unit is spotted. If an enemy is destroyed, I've got it on pause. So you can set these up exactly how you might want them to go, just so that the game will stop when something actually does happen, when there's an event that does actually occur. So incoming enemy artillery, it's going to be fast time off. Unit engaged in close combat. I might change that one to paused. Unit lost is paused. Incoming taking fire, I've got pause as well. So the first time we start to take fire, I'll still leave it there just so we can sort of go from, that way we'll be able to go to the actual action as it occurs. So we'll just go back here, and you've got different graphics options and so on and so forth. It's quite good the way it sort of does work in here with all the different things you can then go and do. Keyboard settings as well. There's a heap of them. There's a heap of stuff. We'll just go back and resume. So now we'll just go and pause again. So if you click on it's not paused. So everyone is now moving up. There's no delay for the very first action that we do. Now there will be enemy scouts out and about, so we do need to find them. Visibility is good. So we do actually have good, even though it's sort of like pre-dawn, we do have a lot of visibility, and we're sort of aware that there's enemy forces moving around. We're aware of forces in here. This could be scout units, but it could also be independents. There could be scout units there as well. Our guys will eventually do this. They'll eventually sort of spot them more effectively. We did see something in there. That's where I'm anticipating finding the enemy, to be honest. This one could be a scout. Oh, there we go. We've now Okay, so one of our STRVs is taking fire from in here. Now we don't know what type, so if we just go and have a look, it will then show us that this particular tank is taking fire. So this is the this is M0, and it doesn't know. So that one has spotted us. If we go back to the line of sight tool and click on it, there's something on that ridge line there, which is firing at us. Now this is actually beyond where where the objectives are. So this will be some sort of scout troop, which I don't think we have to worry about. I doubt whether it'll have anything that's going to concern us. So I'm just going to go and leave that one. Just press L again. I can double click the units, and that way I just follow along with them. So let's just go and see if there's any more that actually happens. It's stopped. It's been suppressed. Enemy ground unit spotted back over there. We're taking fire again. So we're seeing there's more and more stuff happening back over here. Now we're starting to spot the different units. Let's just go and pause and have a quick look and see who we've actually spotted here. So what do we got? Looks like a BMP, just from... No, it's just a wheeled vehicle, but it's probably going to be a BMP type vehicle. This one here is moving through a BTR. That'll probably be more to the point. And so these have just got like a cannon on board. So they're not really like just a machine gun. Not really going to be a big threat to most of our armor, but they are sort of streaming forward. We do actually have a tracked vehicle at the back here. So it's some sort of tank. This is a T-62. I don't know much about the T-62, so they've got maximum speed of 54, so this will be a light tank. But it's got a big gun there, so it's going to be moving out into position. But these are being spotted, which is good. So these are now in position inside their buildings. Let's just go back to MO again. When I double click it, the cameras work fairly effectively at that point. Now we've got contact, but we've just stopped for this particular group here. So that is sort of dug down. That means it's defending from the front. I'm going to tell this individual tank to keep on moving up. So I'm just going to tell it to right click, just move to contact, into that position there. 20-second delay before it takes that order, even though the commander is right there. Now there's a group there as well, which we've just rolled on past. We don't know what that actually is. So who knows? Could just be an enemy scout troop, but could be just a farmer. Now we'll just keep everything going. It's the fact that we've now got the tanks and things rolling through here means there should be a lot more coming along this road. This is something where we could, if we wanted to, send in mortars to try to sort of take out whatever's there. But I think we'll wait a little bit longer. We hit with no damage. More enemy ground units are being spotted. Well, here we go. This is now interesting. So we've now got I'll just pause that again, sorry. In through here, we did actually find that the initial guys have sort of come forward here, and they've stumbled into one of these guys. This is a BRDM recon group, and so they've actually moved across. We've got one of these guys has actually moved forward. They've been suppressed. If we have a look at the information for those, what's their armor? Not very much at all. So this group in here with the Armoured Rifle Squadron is trying to move up. It's actually moved past the other. We've got another recon, BDR recon there. Now we did actually fire. So these guys are charging ahead. I didn't think we'd see the enemy recon forces down here so early. Now the BDRMs, I wish you could see the information for the enemy. but it doesn't give you information. And we should be able to pick that one up. To be honest, that the game does need to be able to do that one, similar to what we have in through here. Like if I go into these Remo things with their armor, so they've got much stronger armor with what they end up having, and then they've got their autocannon as well. So the autocannon should be able to smash its way through. The penetration there is 48, 39, 31. It would be useful to have this information on what the enemy can do as well. So when I click on that unit, it's then showing me who can see it. So these two here. So this one did take some damage. This one here is now come in and interrupted what's going on. Let's go and click on slow. They're still firing. Come on, you need to keep on firing. This is going to be taken out, I'm sure of it. Wow, there we go. So this one fired beforehand, took that one out, which now saved the bacon here of this particular group. Now we told them this one should have had a standard operating procedure. Oh, unloaded contact. I've got no. I thought I changed all these to yes. I definitely sort of want to get that one off, I think. Oh yes there. Now there's going to be a bit of a delay there, I think. Oh no, it's not too bad. These all I. That formation, who's involved? Yep, so I'll just have all of them unload on contact. These guys are already in position, so they're going to be offloading their groups. So these obviously move a lot faster than the more heavily armoured groups that are coming back through. So first blood is to us back in through here. Let's just keep on going. Actually, we now know what was firing at us. So that's another recon BDRM. So again, just a machine gun. So nothing much for us to really concern ourselves with at the back there. These guys are doing what they're doing. That's all fine. We're just going to keep these sort of coming back in. So in this case, we've just got this one here now, which this one was given orders to stop when it actually had when it had contact. So it can see this unit. So it's going to be able to fire on that unit. So I might just let it take that one out, and then we'll just sort of see how we go. So if we just go back to slow mode again. So we're trying to fire at this thing. We're missing it. It's missing us quite badly. Now this little green thing means that we're actually in a good defensive position. There we go. We actually hit the front and we destroyed it again. So so that's now the two recons. I'm guessing that they'll be in pairs. Now there's actually a smallish force that's come back out of here. Just a scout team actually has come back out of the group there, and so they'll be ready to be sort of gobbled up. If we just go and grab that group, that's the 3 units there. This group is still moving up, so it's actually still in that movement phase. Now I forgot where this group was actually going to go. Where's that group going? That group is heading up over to here. So we want this one to head up into here. So I'm just going to keep on going. I'm going to tell them to advance. That scout group shouldn't really be a problem to us. So I'm just going to go and get these guys now just to... well, if I go into contact, they're just going to go and pick those bits and pieces up. So let's just go back up into here. So it's only 10 seconds before they go and do that one, and then we'll just offload. Unload into these into the buildings here. Yep, so there's more. This one's taking fire from back down this way. So there'll be other troops on the ground there. This one is firing at the enemy, so it's actually moving across. So it's still actually, its orders are to still keep on moving. But I'm thinking that with what we actually now have, I might just cancel the orders here. Delete all waypoints. But it's sort of it's in the middle of what it's doing there. Just give it orders to unload into this location. Actually, that should now stop. No, it's still doing it. Yeah, that's okay. Actually, I'll just tell it to unload straight away. Orders, unload. Okay, they've been wiped out. Alright, so we'll just move this one up now. Next, past this one. So let's just go back to contact. Oops, hang on. Delete last waypoint. Not sure what these guys are seeing. Just pause there for a second. We've got the armoured rifle squad now on the ground here. So these are going to be our second rung, just to sort of protect the city. So we've got them there. We now have these as well, which have just come off the out of the TIG bill, and so they're actually confident, and we know that there's something else back up this way. These guys have moved across now into another position, but who's firing at what? What I might do is just move them into here. So we'll just go and advance, I think. So I'll just stay on the road there for a second. Who's firing? I'm not seeing anything, otherwise it would show up on the map. But we know that there was something happening from back over this other side. And we'll actually just keep these together, so I'll just go and grab this group and just get it to advance, or make it to go into contact into that location there. It's got a 1 minute delay for that particular group. And that's all of those. And this one as well. I'll just get them to unload, because everyone else has. Okay, let's go back to slow-mo again. There we go. Troops, that'll be the scout group. These groups will possibly see them. Yep, they're the ones that see it. So when you click on them, you see that little yellow, sort of yellowy green circle. Then they'll start firing. That's been suppressed already. Now, one of our main battle tanks is taking fire yet again. Now, I'm assuming it's going to be one of these guys. It could be a tank at the back. This is L1. It's LO, L1. Might just watch and see what sort of fire is coming our way. If I don't like the fire, what I can do is I can move back. In fact, we don't need to be on that ridge line as much as what we are. So let's just do that anyway. Let's just move back a little bit, maybe into this position. So we'll just so we've got a little bit of the ridge in front of us. They tend to sort of go towards the middle of whichever square they're in. But we're on the we're on a slope where we can be seen a bit too easily. So when we do take fire, let's just go and do a reverse back into here. 20-second delay. Let's just watch what actually happens here. Yeah, machine guns coming through. The S-tanks are incredibly survivable because the such a low profile, but also the angles are very, very good. If we just go and have a look at one of these guys and look at the information, the frontal armor is very, very strong, but everything else is bad. So as long as we're being hit from the front, we shouldn't have too much trouble against most things. Finish unloading passengers. So they're hitting the ground and ricocheting. A little bit of damage done. Yeah, this is just machine gun damage. But we're not seeing where it's actually coming from. Again, it's all just in the front, which is so strong. We do see that one. They should be firing at it. There we go. Bang, gone. Shoot at me with your pea shooter. That's what you get. All right, so we're seeing different groups down through here again as well. So let's have a look now and just see what we can spot with everything. Oh, hang on. Have we got all of those? No, we've still got that little scout group is still in the vicinity back over here. This one has now moved up again. So this is E1. You're still trying to get to its location. But there are the scout group in through there somewhere. That may have even been us that popped the smoke. No, we've still got 2 smoke there. So we didn't pop smoke here. The AI will tend to just sort of do its own thing. Let's move up into this position. Or maybe even along that road there. Let's just move into there. Again, there's a delay. There's only 10 seconds before these ones move up. They should be able to then spot that scout group. This group here is, that's 3. This is actually the command group. So this is the actual HQ contact. That is the HQ. It's only 60%, and this is 60%. But this is essentially the ability for this one to move up. So I'll just leave that one where that is. Yep. So that recon was then destroyed. Let's have a look and see what we've got. We've got another group in through here. It's just another tank, I would assume. Something. It's something. We don't know what it is. We know it's an enemy. It looks. Yeah, it's a tank. So that will be interesting to sort of see what sort of damage comes from back up this way. Let's ground unit spotted again. Yeah, so that was only just spotted. So these are something's moving along the side here, and so quite often the AI will actually try to flank you, which is actually quite interesting the way it does do that. The others are sort of all in no man's land. They're now moving up to take these objectives, which is going to then impact us. Once the objectives fall, that's going to it's going to mean that we end up, our points will go down fairly fast. But its survivability is actually probably the main thing that we have to worry about. Nothing coming through this side just yet. Our scouts, actually that one there, we didn't really ever push that anywhere. Let's just go and get this one to scout into this area. Okay, that's actually where it just randomly positioned itself. These guys are in the right position there. Have to be a bit careful of these. And I'll just get this one to scout. Just means sort of move very circumspectly. So I don't want them out in the open like this. And then we'll start to move our infantry up. This one's now taking fire from somewhere. Let's have a look and see what we're going to get. It was N1. It's just machine guns at this stage. Don't show your flank. Oh, T-55. Okay, so we have T-55s coming back through. Wow, we got it. So one of the S-tanks took that one out. So this was N2. Actually got rid of the T-55. Now there's still this other one which is now in that little divot. So it's actually moved into this gap. It's going to then arrive at the top here again. So one of them has been taken out, which is awesome. So the T-55s are fairly old, so that won't really matter that much. We are still taking, this one's still a bit suppressed. I know it's just taking fire. Or maybe it's still from where it was. No, that's still taking fire. But we are further down, so we should be okay. But I'm liking where we're positioned here, like it's, you know, that is actually just a neutral. That'll be a farmer. There he is. Keep low. Duck and cover. So, so that one's down. Let's just keep on watching as we sort of see more and more connections with everything. It's only machine gun fire coming back at this stage. Only firing machine guns down this way as well. They're only light machine guns. They're not big heavy ones. We're going to have a big connection up here fairly soon. There we go. Just destroyed that scout team from back over there. That's now gone. I'll let everyone sort of just do their unloading, and then we should be ready to go. We're spotting different groups now coming back up through. So as they come past us, we've told them not to engage. We have a T-62 now moving past this building, but we're hidden in the building. This little scout team, you can see it can see a lot. This is all stuff it can actually then go and spot, including this group in through here. Now, what's that one? Is that one there? I think it might be. Anyway, they're essentially just hiding away. Got no armor or anything. They do actually have this LAW, which is very, very high penetration. God, it would be cool to take that out, but then it's just going to show where we are. So this is what it's spotting. Everything in blue is what it's actually spotting. So it's got its T-62 down there, another T-62, BTRs, T-62s. We're spotting an awful lot. What I might do is I might throw a mortar in there now. So let's just go back to our mortars. Yeah, we'll get this whole group to do this one. So we'll we'll set it up so that we end up with the orders in through here. So if I just right click, I'm going to put high explosive into this. Actually, there's a lot at the back here that we can actually see. There's also a lot coming in this way. It might be worth now hitting these objectives. Yeah, let's hit the objectives, I think. They're not bunched up enough. This here sort of is, but a few of those we've missed a little bit. Let's just go and get that one done. So they'll start to get ready to fire into that location. I'll keep the others at this stage. I won't sort of use them to do anything like that. All right, so continue on. We've got another recon group that's now sort of moving back out. Our tanks can take those. It's the T-62s that are going to be the problem. And if I look at the T-62, they're only spotted by these guys at this stage. They're reporting back about what's going on. This is why scouts are so important, to be able to sort of get a feel for what's going on. So if I had an aircraft, I'd be flying them in now, and they'd be destroying like heaps of this stuff. So it would be, I'd be able to really make a big indent there. Okay, let's unpause. So they're firing back up here. Now that's what we don't want to be seeing, to be honest. This group in here. This is E0 again, the one that's sort of been damaged. And those rockets are not going to be able to do anything. So let's just go and get this one across, and we'll start to offload the troops. So we'll do an advance into there, and then an offload. Now 20 seconds. There's going to be another shot coming in that meantime. Then we'll unload into this location as well. In fact, yeah, I'll just get them to unload straight there. We've got this group as well. This is FO. Now they're moving off. They should be offloading. I think what I'm going to do with this whole group is just give them orders to unload straight away. E is a bit disconnected. That's F1, that's FO, that's E2, E1, EO. So they're offloading. This one's not yet. Yeah, let's just get out of the way first. Now these guys are still moving up, but I think I'd be happier to actually have these now offloaded anyway. So let's just go and get them to unload. These guys in here need to unload. These guys need to unload as well. Oops, hang on. Unload. Get them off. And who else have we got? Got this group as well. Now, they've already unloaded with their forces. So they've done what they have to do, which is fine. So we'll just leave them back where they are, and then we'll try to sort of get the infantry a bit more involved. Now we've taken out everything else to do there, so we now start to bring these forces up and try to keep them sort of together. So let's just go and do a contact move into this tree line. Back up into there, and then they've got another group, which is part of that group there. Yep, this group over here. So they'll move through. Their operating procedures are for quick, which is not what we want. Cover. Yep, cover, back through there. Anything that where we do actually have the infantry on the ground, I want to keep them in cover as much as we possibly can. This group is still slowly crawling their way across the ground, so they're just sort of slowly moving their way over. They should be moving into here. Again, just check that they are, yeah, they're going for cover. I'm supposed to have moved in there. They're hiding. Might scout over to, I might get that one across into there. Into that building there. Just so we can see more of what's going on in the battlefield. Okay, so it's getting fairly complex. T-62 has just rolled past this one. If I hadn't had these are hiding, so they're just hiding away in the buildings. If they weren't hiding, they would try to take out these T-62s. So I'm sort of happy enough for them to just stay there so they can report on what we're seeing. But they're going to come across out of this forest fairly soon, and then we'll have to try to take them out with our tanks. Let's just stay back in here and just watch as other things develop. There's still another tank in here. Their radio communication with each other. Heavy ground unit spotted back over there. Now we took damage there. That was actually a tank hit. So if we have a bit of a look, I'll just pause that for a second. Okay, these guys now finished unloading their passengers. We'll have to go and check all those. But this actually came from something else down this way. There's possibly a tank out this way. There's a T-62. That's possibly the one that actually fired at us. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to move this one back now. So I'm just going to go back to reverse. And we'll just move back away from the line. This one here, NO, is just sitting where it is. I'm sort of happy enough with where they actually are. I could move this one up into that location there. I might just do that one. So let's now just move that one into contact, into that position. Which will keep the housing sort of protecting it visually. Okay, everything else is looking good here. Again, I just want to check the standard operating procedures of all of these. Let me just get the one unit on its own. Yeah, we want cover there for all of these as well. I don't know if that grabs everything. That's E2. Let's just try this one here. Just go to cover. Does that pick them all up? Yeah, it did. All right, so I can just do it with the with these groups. These have still got troops inside. F, where are you moving off to? I really need to get these out of here now. So I'm just going to go and tell them to unload. And I will tell them also that they're staying cover. Let's go for cover and we'll just double check. Yep, that's fine. Actually, these are now maximum as well. I want them effective. It's going to take a bit of time for those to get those commands coming back through. This group is now off as well, so cover, effective. I don't want them firing at maximum range. I want them to wait until they've actually got some abilities there. Okay, these guys are sort of just waiting back until we've actually got something we need to go on, like a gap that we need to plug, so we'll just leave that one where that is, and this as well. We'll need to change this one here to cover effective before they sort of do anything else. Yeah, we'll just get those done. These are a bit disconnected. I don't think I could do that here. You can do it with the other groups. All right, that'll do us. Okay, so so they're all done. These guys are offloading at the stage. And we have to start moving up with the troops. Okay. And again, it's sort of these tanks, I'm just sort of hoping that they can survive here a little bit. We might just position ourselves behind this tank and just watch what goes on here. So we're not really sort of spotting much with that one. We know that they're there, but we just don't know. They're aware of us, but we're not aware of them. So we can't see anything just yet. Okay, the mortars are now ready to fire, so I can now just go and tell them to start to fire. They're going to be firing into here. So with each of these I can just say, yeah, fire for effect and fire for effect. So it's now firing. These are T-62s. This is not a good idea. We just got destroyed and we lost a group there as well. Okay, so we're going to have problems here. Get into there so you can hide away. This is what we don't want. We don't want the attrition. I've sort of micromanage these a little bit now. These Russian tanks are sort of going to be everywhere. So I've just tried to sort of pick them off with the artillery, with the infantry as they sort of come back through the town. It's a shame. So we ran out of time with that one, which we thought was going to be the case, but we now lost that whole group as well. It's probably more interesting than anything. Enemy T-65. Actually, we did destroy it with N0. That's good. I think that might have been the one that was firing at. Is that N0 back through here? Yeah, that was the one that was being fired at. Or no, that was actually its friend. This one that was being fired at through here. So that's now taken that one out, which is good. So we've got with pretty powerful cannons on these things. They're just really weak from the side. Really interesting little tanks. Tank. Now the scout team has been discovered, so they'll now start firing back. They're still not in the building yet, and so we've got a BTR which has actually now found them. So these ones won't survive. Suppressed. We have a mini LAW, that may be enough. Probably not really though. Now we're smashing this into here with the artillery. I think I'll stop the artillery now. There we go. We've actually, so we've got a T-62 was destroyed by the rifle squad. So E4 actually took them out. This one here actually fired its Carl Gustav. Just one shot, one kill. That's good. That's what we want to see. I'll move these this rifle squad up as well. Advance into that area. So if we can take out the tanks as they come through the town with the infantry, that's going to be useful. Yeah, still back this way. I don't know if you can see anything from back in here. A little bit. Yeah, it's probably still okay. I'm happy enough to just leave them back where they are. We're sort of slowly plinking away at what they do. I might advance just one of these up into this position. That's N1. That one is moving up into that position. That's fine. It can just stay where it's going. We've got troops now on the ground. We're just going to stop this here until we sort of really need them. So let's just go back into here and just go hold. So at this stage, if we have a quick look and see, they've still got 31 high explosive. I'll just stop them from now. So hold fire. But they do have now a range. They've got their range in there. Yep, so they're moving up. They're moving in as well. Yep, they've all got their orders. That's okay. What about you guys? These don't. Yep, that's okay with where they are as well. You could easily sort of isolate them away from their vehicles. I'll just tell them to advance again deeper into the territory. So I'll just start to move up towards the objective. Just get them into buildings as they do it. Advance means they won't stop, and I'm thinking that will still be okay. So we're sort of closing in on the objective finally, but we just need to be sort of defensive to a large degree. There's BTRs now moving around, armoured personnel carriers, so they're moving up as well, just trying to sort of get into the town. Let's see how we go. There's a lot going on. The scout team's in trouble back there. So these are streaming past. Now this one here is now taking damage. I was taking fire, but I'm not sure from where. Can see recon forces. I think we're okay. Again, if it's towards the front, we missed. T-62's back there again as well. Armoured squads taking fire. This is not good. When we start to take fire, that usually is not a good thing. So F3 is where? F3. The civilians in there as well, but that's we're actually in the building, which is going to help. So they should be okay. F3 is the headquarter unit for that group. What's this one doing? Oh, they're moving off into there. That's okay as well. So just keep everything sort of going. The scout team here is got 4 casualties, so it's going to be destroyed. All right, let's keep it going. Enemy troops were destroyed. It's now becoming quite dangerous in here. There we go. That's good. So another wheeled vehicle destroyed by F3. So F3 has taken out a it looks like probably a BTR or something. So that's going to be fine. Just read a few of the comments just while we're here as well. So yeah, Brother Raven saying he'd probably leave. I'm not sure which one you mean. Probably the scouts, I guess. Yeah, maybe he's in the scrap metal business. And saying, then again, if they are Scandinavian, they'll probably just take a few Russian tanks out before the fight is over and steal them with a tractor. Yeah, they've got a lot of tractors in the Swedish forces. Hi, Supreme Plague, how are you going? Just see where I got up to. Okay, so Vladislav is saying, it says on the tooltip that the BDRM has a heavy machine gun, 14.5 mg. Should be able to penetrate all your light vehicles except for the main battle front armor. Yeah, that's double the firepower of what we've got on our small vehicles. Interesting. They're some of my favourite tanks, just so different. Yeah, so the S tanks really are quite amazing. Actually, it is interesting. Now we've got this. We've got other little things moving down through here. We're sort of just hidden away a little bit, but this is now the frontal armour is now facing the wrong way. I can't really tell. I can get it to rotate out this way. I'll just do that because we don't want to be hit from the rear with that. All right, let's continue on and sort of see how we're going. So still early days in this battle. This thing's still taking fire from somewhere, but I'm not sure where. But you can see it's got the protection. That little green is just showing us that we actually are dug in. And when you've got something with such a low profile, and it's dug in as well, he's looking the wrong way. But anyway, that's yeah. There's not going to be much really going on there. Turn around. You're looking the wrong way. B1 has been routed from back over there. That's okay. We'll just let them do what they're doing. F3 I think is taking fire. We're hitting different areas back over through here now as well. No damage to these T-62s. Enemy T-62 was destroyed by L0. So we are actually now, L0 is here. So these are nicely positioned just in behind this ridgeline. So when they pop up, we're getting shots in, which is great. So these are really nicely positioned on these little ridges, and he is looking the right way. So he is doing a good job there. Okay, BTR destroyed by another rifle squad. This is all good stuff. We just need to get this attrition up first before we start to move in on the objectives. We need to make sure that we've cleared out the vast majority of what they're doing. F3 is right in the middle of the fights here. G4 though, where are you? Great. That's G3. Where's G4? G4. They took a shot across there. Awesome. Awesome. And I think we'll just keep on moving you up actually. So we'll just go into up to there. And just sort of slowly make our way towards the objectives. But really there's such a big wave of troops coming. This is actually the doctrine for the USSR. Now we've got a T-55 there again and another vehicle at the back. We should have this one, should be able to take this one out. If we go and click on that one, yep, this one's the one that's got it lined up. Nope, too late. Too late. It was taken out by N2. So this one got the shot there. And again, it's only got like limited areas it can see, which is actually fine. It just means that there's not too much that can then fire at it as well. So that's the T-55, I think, that was rolling up this way. It's now moved across to sort of sweep in around us, which is still working out fairly well. Now again, it's all this attrition is really, really important that we don't sort of end up with too much. This one is protected again, so it's behind, like it's hull down, which is good. So BTR was destroyed there as well. That's good. So we're doing the damage here. We didn't get too greedy. Unit spotted. Come on, we need to wipe these out, guys. There we go. Another T-62 destroyed by one of the S-tanks. We haven't lost an S-tank yet, which is good going. They're cheap and nasty. Nasty in a good way. We're not seeing too much anymore from these different units. Another T-62 destroyed by another S-tank. So they're really punching up here. And this is good going. So we're sort of wiping out their armoured forces as they're moving into the just over the ridge line. So this was taken out by L2. So L2 is, that's that's L2 there. The one that's hull down that was taking the damage before. This one's still confident and they're unbuttoned as well. So the commander is actually out and looking. So that's good going. Still got troops that we're spotting here. Just not seeing anything. Enemy vehicle destroyed. Now that's been destroyed by 01 way back over here. So these guys that we just positioned at the back through here have now sort of are now seeing just on that other road, which is where we wanted them for. Like remember we have at the very start we had the line of sight just so we could just see on this road and just take them out as anything sort of came back to try to flank us, which is good. Good going. Now these guys here, are you moving up? Yeah, they're going to slowly start to move up. They're going through cover. You can see they're going from house to house, which is why we want them to go into the cover just for survivability. They're also ultimately going to be moving up as well. Just make sure that their orders are also to be in cover. Yep, that's fine. F5 has not got a real big place to go into, so let's just move that one up. We're starting to now see actual rifle squads on the ground here. Just go and get this one to advance to contact into that position. That one's still trying to make its way over. So we're in the buildings. Just wonder if this was going to be better if we just delete that last waypoint here, because the fights are now starting in this location. Now that one there, needs to basically advance into here. Get into cover, please. This, if you don't like the delay, you can change that at the start of the game. So never fear. And we've got. I'm just going to advance across. Actually, I'm going to delete the last waypoint. Actually, it's going to move there anyway. Let's just go back up and do an advance into this building here. And we'll just double check. Yeah, that one's still going through cover as well. That one's supposed to be going into that building, which is fine. So these are all sort of in position, just to take out anything that does sort of slip past. And again, at this phase, we're not going after the objectives, we're going after the attrition. So it looks like this might get a bit interesting now into here. The fact that we've actually seen a full-blown full-blown squad there. So this is the motorized rifle squad. Assault gun, light machine gun, sniper rifle, hand grenade, RPG-7 and an RPG-18. So we have to be a little bit careful with these guys, but they're not seeing them at all. Who is seeing them? This group here. So this armored rifle squad will actually then take out. Well, it will try to take those out, but it doesn't have the same deal that these have got, like with their machine guns, etc. So F3 is actually just a command group. It doesn't have the same kit as these other guys. These are guys who've got their light machine guns as well. You know, it probably would be a good idea to ultimately move up further this way. So I'll get this squad. I'll just delete that last waypoint. Should delete all the waypoints. And we'll just do an advance into this building here. Okay, it's going to be lots of little things now just going on with what we then need to go and do. And we might even leapfrog this one out as well. So we'll just go in and do a contact and then a contact up to there. Right, so that's now the orders coming back through for that one. It's very finicky what we have to do here. We've now been suppressed. Again, these guys have got a lot of firepower. BTR. We just tried to hit it with a Carl Gustav. T62. BTR destroyed. Back over here by another one of the S-tanks. We don't get stats of, unfortunately, of what's going on in the, like at the end of the battle. We don't know which tanks perform best, and I liked seeing that. That would be cool if they added that as well at some point. This one is taking damage from the Carl Gustav, but these guys are suppressed. They're not going to be as effective. Only got two more of the Carl Gustav shots left. This guy will be moving in there fairly soon. I'm a bit worried about this one, how exposed this one is. The fact that it's now suppressed is a problem. Another BTR destroyed by another S-tank at the back there. Rifle squad there, very, very powerful. T62 at the back. There we go, taken out by E4, which is this group in through here. They're still moving across into this, they're still moving into there. So they've taken that one out. They've still got, that would have been another Carl Gustav shot. So they're doing well here with the tanks, like they're smashing them, absolutely smashing these T62s. This rifle squad is still moving up. Again, this guy here is really taking a lot of damage. Now we were going to be moving up here. I actually think we might cancel those and just leave it where it is. I think we're going to need it there. This one was going to be moving over there, which I think again is a good idea. One's still trying to get across to the other side. We're going to try to get across to there. E5 is in a good position there, so I'll just keep that one where that is. These two scouts are still just sitting inside the building, just watching as troops go past. BTRs. But we are doing a lot of damage out this way now with our S-tanks. So that flank has certainly been looked after. The BTR destroyed by another S-tank, L0. We missed. They're under fire. They're confident again, actually, so they're no longer suppressed, but they're really in a bad way. Actually, now they are. Haven't lost any men yet. I shouldn't have said that. We're moving up. A lot of the game is about trying to get into a defensive position to then take out troops as they come towards you. Okay, so E1 is now taking fire, so this guy in here, we want to get that one out of there. That's E2, where's E1? I really can't do much with it. I'm going to reverse it down the road. Let's try to reverse it all the way down to here. These aren't going to be playing much of a role in the game. So just advance it down to there, and then we'll just do a rotation. Back up that side. That one's hidden away. That one's not as hidden away as we would like. Again, I don't want to be losing these because it's all attrition, and we've now got sort of multiple hits coming in from these angles. Yep, see they're firing their rocket-propelled grenades. Another one taken out by another S-tank. Okay, we didn't move fast enough. So we've lost E1, so that's now another expense that we have to then try to make up at the end of the battle. So that was this motorized squad, which is doing very, very well. Like, these really do fire. Now, this one here has now been spotted by someone. I'm just going to move this one across, so let's just go and... So it's been spotted by this guy here. So let's just go and try to sort of scout our way back into this position. Those scouts were quite useful. They did a lot of good work there. This one's now got one casualty, unfortunately. They're now nervous. There we are, hitting this one as well, this wheeled vehicle, back from this line. They're in this building now. Enemy wheeled vehicle destroyed, so that was the one back over there now, so that's gone. The sun has now risen. We have good visibility, very, very good visibility. This thing's going to cop it from all angles. This one's moving into position to help out. I3 is now taking damage as well. E4 is taking attacks. They're still confident. We need to get into these buildings. T62 was destroyed there by I3. Where's I3? Yeah, that one there. Could see it just around the side of the, like from its window, and it's now taken that one out. This group is suppressed, unfortunately. We need to get into buildings. And we need to get the attrition up with everything that's actually happening. We've done a good job out this way. Let's keep it rolling. Okay, we're now taking indirect fire. Now 2 casualties. It's now panicked. It should run. I'm sort of hoping it runs pretty quickly. Looks like it's about artillery now loading in here. So we've got mortars. That's one thing we haven't done. Is we did set up our TRPs. We've got one there, but we have another one in through here, but that's not really... I wonder if we shouldn't sort of try to fire into here now. Just back into here. I think I might do that one. If we go and use this one here, I don't know if we can actually sort of use this one to bring in the actual... I'm not sure how we do this actually. I haven't done this for a while. Artillery, there it is. So I'll just read the help file there. So in the artillery menu, the player designates targets for off-map artillery. To use off-map, the player must create a fire mission, select the round type and the number of guns and volleys for that fire mission. Then the target area coordinates and dimensions can be then sort of go and set. So let's go and do the high explosive. We've got a lot of it here. We probably should have done this earlier actually. So fire mission 1, we'll just go into this one here. I can go to new mission. So this will be, so fire mission 1 was there. Just go and cancel that. So this is fire mission 2. That should have, yeah, fire mission 3. Okay, so I'll just do it from here. So the width, this is going to then sort of designate how we then sort of set it up. So I've got, just go a little bit larger. Set the target is going to be in around this area. So in fact we could just do it there, I think. So it's going to take 1:30 to adjust, and then we'll just sort of fire into that one and just sort of see how we then go. So so that one is now getting ready for the fire mission 3. I'm just going to go and remove that one. It's fire mission 2. Yeah, we've got the guns there as well. That's okay. We want to go high explosive. So it says only 1 round. That's not what we want. Artillery. Fire mission 3. High explosive. Volleys should be able to tweak it. Fire mission 3. You've got a heap. I'll do say 20 volleys and just sort of see how we go. Set high explosive, that's fine, and fire all. Okay, it's done. I'm thinking that's going to work. Right, we'll see what we end up with. We've got artillery firing into here as well. Scout team, this scout team's now taking fire as well. It's got 1 casualty, so we're going to lose our scouts. So we'll just wait for these to start hitting this area. BTR destroyed by another S-tank. Enemy troops destroyed. Some sort of vehicle making its way through the middle. There's a lot of smoke on the ground here. They're down to just a very small number. Ammunition is now cooking off back in here. That is 62. Okay, that was destroyed by the armoured car. Oh no, we got destroyed. We were moving away. We were trying to run at that point. So this one is... so we're losing more and more of these. It was taken out by a rifle squad. That should be firing into here now. BTR was destroyed as well. So these guys are doing very, very well. Fire now on in the buildings down this way. This is, I think F3 is going to be damaged. Like he's going to be he's not going to have much left at the end of this. I4 is now taking fire, but we should still be okay at the back through here. This is now, wow, E4 is now nearly completely dead. Yep, indirect fire. Come on, get into cover. Got one casualty, so this is actually the artillery that they've got coming in. This motorised rifle squad is down to just 4 members. That one's also taken a fair bit. Okay, F5 is now dashing away. BTR destroyed. Taking fire down here as well. E4 has been essentially neutralised, wiped out. They're down to 2 men, I think. So they're completely broken. E4 is now trying to retreat into the tree line. Probably be wiped out, I would guess. Fire mission, 2 rounds completed. So they're retreating. Taking indirect fire there. They're going to be wiped out, I'm pretty sure. Now they may be... yeah, these are running back. Okay, we've pushed them back. Interesting. Fire that one while we're here. Fire for effect. We'll set that target up. So there's no spotter for this, they're just firing randomly into that position, but that should then give us a bit of respite with those sort of running away. The fact that they're running is going to then open up the middle, which is good for us. So that firefight, we ended up winning that one, but it was a fair bit of attrition. There's a lot of smoke in through here. These guys are crawling away, 2 of them. Will they make it? Who knows? 4 is now running. They're down to 1 man. Run! Vehicle destroyed by I3. That's good. So we're doing good damage in through here. Well, we're still attacking him. He's now cowering. Here things happening. Where are they? There's still a lot going on in here. Troops, unknown troops. Rifle squad down to just a couple of men. BTR 80. So these guys are. So the artillery is smashing into here now as well. Our artillery. We do actually have. We've got fire. Sorry, something's firing at us from back this way. Now this is BTR. How did that one get that? Oh, they come across. So we've got units that have now moved out to try to flank us. Now these should be able to take them out as well. What do we got down there? Another vehicle way at the back. J5 is taking fire, but we're in a building. Scout team taking indirect fire. Look, I'm just going to... We've got 2 casualties there. They are suppressed. Let's just still keep it where that is. That group that was there, we've now lost. So we've lost sight of everything that was going on in there now. So we've sort of lost our eyes there. We've still got this group here, which is looking around this region, but we're not sort of seeing too much with them. But they were very, very handy, having those scouts where they were for so long. They held it as long as they could. So the machine guns are now firing at this one. Okay, they are now routed. So these guys are starting to sort of take some damage here. Hitting this, but we're not getting there. There's a mortar there. We lost L2. No. So we lost our first S tank. So that is now gone. So so that was hit in the front actually at 1% sort of. Oh, sorry, 1 degree. So really actually hit it absolutely square on from somewhere, but we don't know from where. So that's our first S tank got down. Which is a shame. We're going to keep all of the artillery again just for this big assault on these locations. F3 is now dashing away. They're trying to run. Where's F3? They were up in here somewhere. That's them there. They're just making a run for it, trying to get out of there. Down to 3 men. So they've moved away from this kill zone into here. I4 is now taking damage as well, or taking fire. 3 casualties, they are panicked. This group is still actually firing at them. Yeah, there's a fair few there. That's a new group. Can't fire there. Oh yeah, they are firing, that's good. So they're firing into this area. BTR destroyed, that's good. So we've now got things happening in through here as well. Here comes a BTR. Behind us. J3 is now taking attacks, but that still shouldn't really be a big problem. There we go. It's been destroyed by F5. So having our infantry where we position them, I think ultimately was a good thing. We've probably been a little bit with the J company. We've probably gone a little bit too far up. But this is actually still working out okay. Got unknown troops in there as well anyway. Let's keep it going. Just got to weather the storm here a bit. Oh, they're taking fire from somewhere. All right, let's move away from there. They need to... they can't do anything. They're suppressed. So something in here is firing at them. So they were spotted, a bit like the mortar from over this other side as well. Self-propelled mortar there, which we've tried to hit a few times. We're just not getting it. So we've got a T-55 moving out in the open there. But we've now, our scouts have sort of now, like this scout here is now reporting on a few of the things that we're seeing back through here, but we're not seeing much at all. Actually, that one is reporting on a motorised rifle squad, which will have RPGs. BTR-80 destroyed as well. Yeah, so they're being hit. Back over here. At long range. Yep, so our guys are still smashing their way through. We're inside, being in these buildings has certainly protected us a lot. Enemy T-62 destroyed by G3. The artillery's just hitting this area. There may be a lot of unknowns that we don't see just yet. That one's down to just a few men, down to a few men. Okay, I-4 is now routed as well. E4 as well, so that they are pushing through now. I can always withdraw if I don't like what's going on, like down the bottom corner there. I can always say, "Nope, that's enough." If we're taking too much attrition, we've now lost a mortar as well. It's still not too bad yet. Like it's like we're still, like we are diminishing. Our actual points are diminishing with all of these losses that we're now taking. But I think we just resume. If we can just keep on with the higher attrition, which we're doing fairly well with the attrition. But the more we lose, the closer we get to defeat. But if I do withdraw, I at least save my forces. You see we've lost a lot in recent times. All the red or orange. We lost another infantry fighting vehicle. These all have to be replaced. Ah, we got it. That's the end of it. So we were so close. I was starting to think, oh my God, how much further do we have to go? So what we've done is, even without taking the objectives, we managed to actually attrit much more of their forces than what they did. So the battle has reached its conclusion. Show the after action report. We'll just go click on OK. So this is now a total victory for us, and that was because we didn't lose that many. So our troops, we had 172 troops to start with. We lost 39. You can see how important the infantry were. They actually did a really, really big job. God, I wish it would tell you what the performance was of each unit. That would be really, really cool to sort of see what's going on through here. Now this is actually the campaign. We've now sort of got like at the next level of the campaign is here. So that's the next map that we then have to go and do. There's only like 4 in total that we would then need to do with resuming the campaign. Now, so we lost 40, like basically 48, I guess, or 47 total troops routed and lost. Routed, we get them back though. Vehicles, we did lose 4 vehicles, so that wasn't as bad as I thought. We lost more, and we lost one of our mortars. So that's actually what that's what it cost us, that particular fight. The USSR, they lost nearly half their troops. Didn't realise that actually, so that's actually interesting. We had similar numbers of actual ground troops on the which was interesting as well. So they lost a lot more than what we did and routed, but we didn't get to see them all that much. And then the vehicles, they lost the vast majority of their vehicles as well. So yeah, they had more of both of these than what we did. They had 12 mortars, they lost none of those. We certainly felt the effects of their mortars. Let's go back in. If we just go and turn this one off, we can now see what's where. So look at this. When we lost our scouts, there's still heaps of motor squads. They've been hit pretty hard. They're still actually okay. That one's up to full strength, I would guess. T62 at the back there. BTR 80. There's nothing really in here where I was going to be firing on things. This motorised squad in through this other side down to just 3 members. That one there down to just a handful of members as well. What about back over here? That one's down to 3 as well. So they ended up taking a lot of damage from the various fights that we ended up having. So that was the last thing to be destroyed. And then there was a motorised rifle squad that then came out of that. Actually, that's how we're doing most of the damage on their troops, was taking out their personnel carriers before they could actually sort of offload their troops. So that's, I think, why we sort of did so well with their troops, because I don't think we actually hit them all as hard as what their troops are better than ours. They've got airborne infantry, which is back over this side. Nothing came close to this ridge back up this way. All their mortars down the back there. Wow, they've got heaps of them. And more mortars on that side. See, if we had have gone for a bit of a run, a barrel run down the back here, we would have smashed through all of this. It's always worth considering. Like, well, once a gap has opened up, there's a chance you'd make it through. But I mean, we sort of got it there in the end anyway. So they did actually have they did have that area. They didn't have this area in the end. So they weren't worried about that. They were trying to do damage to us, which is sort of what you need to do. So it's not just about the objectives. Okay, well, that's where we are. We go back to the summary. So now what happens in the actual dynamic campaign. So again, this is like a random campaign, but fought on a real map. And that was pretty cool, actually. I mean, again, it was really interesting having to sort of plan how we're going to approach the open areas and the closed areas. And so we had to fight very, very differently. Every time you play the game, because it's not it is actually like real terrain, you have to then sort of really think your way through the best way of doing it. I'm glad we only lost 1 tank. That was a good outcome for us. Anyway, let's just go and resume the campaign. So what we end up having here is we have like the scout sections took a bit of damage. So you can see down through here, we've got like a little bit of extra points that we need to then sort of go and spend to bring everything back up to speed. And so these are all the things that were taken that had a bit of damage. That actually they're okay. Those mortar sections are okay, but everything else took damage. So if I go back to the mortar section, I just need to refit that one, so refits the selected group. Alternatively, you can left click twice or right click once on a group. So I can actually just go and pick that one up, which now sort of takes up a bit more. I've got a fair bit of points there. The infantry company here, this group in through this other side, you can see there that platoon. What did it lose? Just one of the rifle squads in it. Was the problem that it ended up having. That's all. That's the only thing that happened there, was a rifle squad was wiped out from that particular group. Just right click on that one. That one's now back up to speed. This infantry company took a lot of damage. The headquarters were okay. IFVs were removed. Squads were removed. Yep, so there was a lot of damage done to these. And these will be the same, I think. I'll just go and grab each of these. Yep, rifle squad there. A IFV and another rifle squad there. So that one's going to take a fair bit. In this case, I do have enough points to do the whole lot. The tank company, it only was just one tank that just needs to be replaced, so 73 points there. So we'll go and throw that one back in there. The scout section's very important. Just get them back up. We've still got heaps of there. So we ended up having, but you can see how, like, we did pretty well with the attrition, and yeah, we still had to spend well over half the points we had available at the end of the fight to bring everything back up to speed. If you don't look after your forces, they will suffer. So if you are starting to if you really don't think you can win a fight, you just retreat and you just go back a map or two, and that's sort of, then you're fighting the next attack. So anyway, we're doing well there. So we'll just click on done. And yep, advance, capture and hold the objective. So now we actually have an actual advance where we have to now go and hit deeper. If we just scroll back out, we've just come from here. This is actually where we just fought, and we're now rolled forward on the big map again to hit this area, which is just, we do actually have a little bit of forest now off to the edge. So this is now going to be the main feature, and we do actually have the start of these hills. So the hills are just starting to sort of kick in around here, and we're going to be up, because we've gone past where we were, we're going to actually have the hills on our side of the equation. So we've actually got like some fairly good locations to be able to look down into what they're doing. So before I start here, I might just do a save. So I'll just go and save that one. But that was a good start there. So if I now resume, I'm now in the next phase, but I won't play this one out. I do have to get going. But that's what did we play for? 3 hours. Wow, that was a long time. But it's a really cool game. Like, just, you know, with what it's actually happening through here. So this is now at 10:24 in the daytime. So the briefing is just going to be basically just dynamic campaign. It's not going to tell us much at all about what's going on there. But we now have to set up yet again for the next phase, evaluating the lay of the land, try to figure out what's going on. It's fair weather. Visibility is 2,800, so it's not clear. It's got slight haze, which you can sort of see there. But what a great game this is. Now, they can also still have troops anywhere they like, but they're now going to have less troops because we're doing an assault. So now we actually can push forward, and this is no man's land in through here, so we will be able to go and claim all this stuff fairly readily. And we actually, looks like we've got a nice valley there to be able to roll everything through to get close to their positions. So we sort of be able to just come back through between these houses, like down here, and then in behind this this line here. So we'll just have to clear that out. But then once we're sort of into this position, once we hit this ridge line, we then actually have we've got command of the whole battlefield, and even from the actual tree line. Once we sort of come through the trees here, if I just get down a bit lower, we then actually have that's actually the front line of where they actually are. So again, we've got very commanding positions if we actually hit through the tree line. But anyway, I'll leave that for another day maybe. Let's just move up. And yeah, so that's... but we should expect that there will be enemy in any defensive location, like in here, for example, stuff like that. So we then have to go and actually end up assaulting these. But it's an awesome game. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. So thanks for watching. Do you get experience? Not as such, no. The troops are just the troops. It's more just about the attrition, like making sure that you can manage the attrition. So Vladislav is saying, I don't think you selected... Yeah, in the end, I didn't, but I did in the end, but not at the start. So what else? Are there any other questions? So yeah, you can see the individual kills in the order of battle tab at the end of the... Oh, and I missed it. I'm not going to see it now, am I? Oh, yeah, we do. We do see it. Okay, so we do get to see these. Oh, this is great. Sorry, I didn't realise that. Thank you. So if we have a look at what actually happened there, yeah, we've got the L2 was destroyed, but it did get, the one that was there did get killed. So if we had done this at the end of where we were, if I just go to armoured, have a quick look at each of these guys. We've got 3 there. That's LM, only 1 kill. 5 kills there for N1, and 3 kills there. Nothing for that group. Mechanised. Again, I should have done this when we were actually in the fight there. Nothing there. Yeah, so just some kills there, some kills there. 3 kills there, that's good with I. J got 2 as well, J5. The recon, they won't have done anything. Support, they won't have done anything either. Yep, no, that's okay. Yeah, so anyway, that's the the kills are well, I'm glad that they are, to be honest. Anyway, guys, I'm going to leave it there. So thanks for watching. So Phil's saying you played Sweden pretty well. It's sort of, those tanks are really interesting. Like, you don't want to be rushing in because they don't have very good protection on the side and the rear. But just for finding a good location, because they're so low and protected so well from the front, they do such a big job. You know, like of being able to hit from distance. And then we were lucky having the city there for the infantry to then work in. But the infantry will be able to work in this forest now when we sort of do this next attack. So the big open areas in through here, I may even just leave like a skeleton crew back out this other side, just to sort of watch things, but it's mainly going to be attacks up onto this hill here. This hill's going to be everything, I think, in this particular fight. So even with our tanks, we'll probably end up sort of just moving them off. But I like that the mission carries on, you know, from section to section. I don't think there's veterancy in it. Maybe there is. I think it would tell you if there was, like if there was some sort of veterancy level for the units. HQ contact. I'm just seeing if there's I mean, it sort of does model it, so will it do it? We're not seeing it there. It's got training and morale. These are just what we ended up having. I thought that it may boost the morale a little bit if there was anything. Let's go back to one of the tanks and just sort of see if that's got anything where it sort of is, because I can't rely that they've actually survived. So N1 did a lot of good jobs. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, look at that. There we go. It does cater for it. So this one, the training level has now gone up. So that's its veterancy. Okay, I'm glad we answered that one as well. So that's a couple of things I wasn't aware of. So JO, how did you go? This one, not so much. A little bit there with the morale. Actually, if we go back to order of battle again, and just go back to the armor. 3. Who got the most kills? It was N1. So this one here, N1. We should expect this one to be. Oh, that's the 94 with the extra training. Yeah, so there we go. That's pretty cool, actually. So I'll leave it there. So that actually, it is modelled, which is awesome. Well, I'm glad we found both those things, actually. Like, so we can actually see who got the kills and how it then impacts them. I don't know if we'll see the order of battle if we go back to the mechanised again. So E Company, actually we're seeing it sort of in through here. This one here did get 1 kill. They're passengers in board there, so we can't actually see what they're doing without actually taking them off. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there, guys. So thanks for watching, and this is a really awesome game. 25% off the base game at the moment, and then you can get a bundle with this as well for 17% off for both. But a very, very cool little war game. It sort of positions itself close to, I guess, to combat mission games to a degree, but it's a bit different. Combat mission games are smaller. This is sort of like a broader, but each individual soldier and vehicle is actually modelled in the game. So yeah, it works very, very well. It's a really, really cool game, and with the 3D as well now, it makes a big, big difference to playing the game. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.